all the moves, they're not hard to find. Strong arm tactics so loud, only themselves in mind. Every player has dreams of making ORCA fame. They'll live on in the minds of those who get in their way. ORCA's all say, don't come for me. Mid-nurse boots, they're so vain. As we set up the podcast webcam, the pod is here to talk ORCA game. ORCA King CK with delusions of fame. In this LRG world, he's the apex predator. Dani and Jules in tow, always ready to go. Now it's time for the show, they're the apex predators.
Hello and welcome to the 100th episode of the ORCA Pod, the Apex Predators of Australian Survivor LRG podcasting. For the two of you that showed up on time, you got to see our brand new intro sung by the wonderful Ash. For those that are tuning in later on the pod webs or watching it later, I'm sure you got to enjoy it too. For those that join us during the show, make sure you go back and watch it because I put a lot of time in it and it's amazing. So that's the intro. It's a very exciting moment for our 100th episode. I want to thank you, Ash, for making that song and then rejigging it as per my requested words to make it more inclusive about the whole crew of orcas that we have. Before we get into our 100th episode, I have some thank yous that I would like to make for people that have helped us get to this place. You won't believe, you may or may not believe this, but timing-wise, you'll believe this fact because it's a fact. 4 years ago, almost to the day, I think to today, I played Melbourne Survivor 3. And 2 years to the day, it was actually released for the first episode. But when I went on Melbourne Survivor 3, I'm wearing the merge buff here, I had a dream that no matter how I went on the show, I could create a podcast where people would just listen to me for hours, rabbiting on about something. And there's so many Survivor podcasts out there. How can I compete with Rob Sestonino? How could I compete with Shannon Gus? But I'm like in this small community of the world of the LRGs, I could have a voice and someone might listen. So even before I appeared on Melbourne, I had a dream of becoming the voice of the LRG world. And that dream has happened. My dreams have come true. And there are many people to thank for that. I want to thank firstly, my wife and kids who put up with me doing this every week. I'll be like, kids are like, oh, Daddy, can you play with me? I'm like, I've got a podcast to do, kids. So neglecting them, future therapy bills, what have you. Wife, very patient, very wonderful. I love you, Sophie. Thank you for your support. I'd like to thank JP and Vince, who used to do podcasting on somewhat an ad hoc basis on this thing. And they brought me in. They said, CK, do you want to start doing this? Do you want to do, I actually did one for Survivor South Africa for some reason. And this, do you want to do this? And I did. And then I was able to pick up the job once I got into, so thank you, JP and Vince. And then I was in the LRG live reality games world. And I met Dustin and the fantastic crew of people at LRG who were happy to involve me in their show, happy to let me get the admin privileges on this and the YouTube so I could order my ORCA podcast as my OCD requires that I do. I'd like to thank next the people I started this podcast with, my original crew from Melbourne Survivor, Annabelle and Max, who we did the entire first season of Canberra together. Thank you so much for that. And Annabelle, who continues to watch things in 2 times. Now she's a big superstar doing real podcasts, still shows up and does the tea party. And I love you, both Annabelle and Max, so much for your support. Then we did 1 season, and the next season was my season. So I couldn't podcast about that. And there's certain people that appeared on that, which will be mentioned later. But Ethan Bromolo, the first ever ORCA, even though he was yet to be the ORCA at that point, appeared and presented a whole season. Thank you, Ethan, for your contribution to our podcast, both for an entire season of Melbourne and for being the first ever Bromolo medalist, giving us that fantastic name for our ORCA of the season. I want to thank all of the orcas that we've handed the awards to, who took it in such great spirit to be given this award, which, some might find offensive, but really it's fun and everyone takes it in the right spirit, and we love you all for it, including, of course, the person who inspired the name, James Wolfe from Canberra Survivor 2, who we fell in love with in the first season that we ever podcast on, Canberra Survivor 2, where he talked about being the apex predator, the orca. It was incredible confessional, and we adored it and adopted it as our name because it was so fantastic. I want to thank all of the players that have appeared on our show. There's probably way too many to name, where they were interviewed, whether they were part of Twelsh, whether they filled in once or twice as a guest host, whether they're on the tea party. Every single one of you, thank you so much for making the time and being a part of our show. I want to thank everybody that watches live. I know people watch it after the fact, but having you here live and commenting is such a dynamic way to present the show. It's so much more interesting than pre-recording. I love doing it live. I love getting your reactions. Thank you to everyone who listens and watches live. We thank you too if you watch it after, but we love you being here live. So many people to name. I can't not mention Schneider, who's been here for day one, spruiking his rando online racing thing he does. I hope you're killing it, Schneider. Thank you for just randomly dropping in with your spruiks. We love a person that drops into random podcasts to spruik their own shit. Like, who doesn't love that? That's so ORCA in itself. Well done, Schneider. I want to thank the creators of all of the LRGs in Australia. Obviously, if you didn't make these shows, we'd have nothing to podcast about, but for also bringing us in and promoting us and supporting us in what we do. So thank you to Kyle and Brian from Backyard. Thank you to Dan and Liv from Canberra. Thank you to Sam from Brisbane. Thank you to Eli from Sydney. And last but not least, the person that's besides me that perhaps is credited for this existing is Liz. Thank you, Liz and Melbourne Survivor, for casting me and then giving me the opportunity to make this dream come true. I'm so excited for what we've done. I'm so excited for the next 100 episodes. I adore being part of this community. Thank you for sitting through my thank yous. And I have 2 more thank yous to give, because what would the Orca Pod be now without my 2 absolutely fantastic co-hosts, my partner in crime. Let me welcome first Dani. That hasn't worked. Dani.
Hi. It's 6, 7, 8 minutes in and I'm finally here. Thank you for your thank yous. My own thank you. Thank you for bringing me on, for trusting me to look after your season, which is how I came on to the Orca Pod. And I just love it. And I hope we get to do 100 more.
And welcome, Jules.
You're going to make me cry with all those thank yous? That was beautiful.
Well, we're a wonderful community and we're the voice of it. So, and that's what we're going to be doing here today. As we've announced, every single person that we've talked about in the past, we talked about again, as Jules and I go head to head to name every single person who has played the 13 LRGs we have covered in reverse boot order. Dani, how are these points going to be scored? There's a bit of debate, of course, amongst the orcas on how we'll be scoring points in this event.
I'm going simple, point for point, point for point. If you lose, the person gets to steal it.
And we've got live scoring potentially on our thing. You're going to update that maybe after every season. What are we looking?
Yeah, I can do that.
Can you do it? I appreciate you working off one screen. I can do the scores if need be.
No, I can edit your names.
Do I trust you to update my score? No.
Well,
I can edit. No, I can do that. I'm looking here. I can
and
edit
the comments.
your
Dani's going to be doing a lot tonight. She's going to be running the PowerPoint, bringing in the comments, because we're going to turn the comments off. There's one comment here. Who is it? It's Kyle.
I've just got the private chat up. I cannot even see comments.
Is this the one where you get to drink your money? That's a live event, Kyle, in October. But thank you for raising it. Orca drinks are happening in May for Canberra, May 16th. And then in October, they will be there for Perth. So put that in your calendar. This is just us naming players and seeing what our skills can do. Jules and I have a bit of smack talk before the show, so this is going to be very interesting. And I'd also like to thank my lovely co-host for this fluoro orca behind me that was sent to me by both of them. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. We had to have something to celebrate 100 episodes, and thank you for bringing us on board because we love it very much as you do.
Excellent. All right, I'm removing the comments. It's all you now, Dani.
All right. I'm in control.
I'm suddenly nervous.
Who's going first? Who's?
Oh,
Danny, did you decide who's going first, or do we have a way?
You're gonna have to pick a number between 1 and 10, and whoever's closest gets to go
5.
first.
You said 5. All right. I think Danny's gone a low number, so I'll say 4.
4 is my
Yes.
4 is my number.
See, I just
Rigged.
Oh, rigged. Oh, please.
Bring up the PowerPoint.
Scorpio
right.
energy. We're just in sync.
We're here. Can you see? Can you see?
Yes.
All right. ORCA Pod, player countdown. We are starting with, and we're going to go in order of like filmed order. So not necessarily released order, but a filmed order. I believe.
Filmed order. Okay.
I think was that the list I sent you? Was that filmed order? Or was that released order?
The one I sent back was release order.
What are these lists you're exchanging? I don't like the sound of this. I don't like
This
the sound
was
of
just, I looked up the dates that the episode 1 was released on YouTube, and that's the one I went with.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
There's been no collision, I assure you. All right. Melbourne 1. I don't have pictures of the players, so we will be getting just names. Every other season, I have their cast photos.
These people have already suffered enough erasure, Danny. This was their one moment to stand up in lights.
Do you know how much work I've put into this fucking...
Yeah, look, let's just... look, you said you did a whole bunch of thank yous. Danny, I want to thank you for putting this PowerPoint together. We had the easy job of just like memorizing 204 players in order. Danny had to put together the PowerPoint. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Kerry Lee is going to be on this in the comments, so disappointed to not see her photo. I don't
I'm
even
so
remember what
sorry.
people like.
I drew the line at stalking their Facebook profiles and finding old photos of them. If it wasn't on the official...
Couldn't you screen grab off the episode?
Yeah, I drew the line of that too. Okay.
Just
Melbourne 1 with a fun drawn...
All right, am I just going straight into it?
Let's go. So we're
The
going...
winner of Soul Survivor was Toby.
Hey, 1 point for Jules. All right.
Are you scoring somewhere? How are you doing this point?
Yes, I'm scoring right now.
Well, second place was the enigmatic Nathaniel, who managed to score 1 vote for being Toby's less worse goat, I suppose.
Look, I don't have the details of the vote count, but third place was Alicia.
Alicia was the full goat. Nathaniel, I think, received the vote from Kath, from memory.
I just remembered the names. I didn't look into the law.
In fourth place was Toby's partner in crime, the person that would have really took him to the torch in a final travel council. Dominating player. Would love to see her play back, but she was so bitter about this loss that she's never been seen again in the community, and that is Charlotte.
All this, like, you can give all these facts. I don't know any of these facts. I just know that fifth place was Ian.
Grumpy old Ian. So grumpy.
Who's next?
It is a 2-time player, Kath.
And next is the host of Backyard Survivor, Kyle.
And next is the most important player of the entire season. Winners be damned. ORCA of the season, the magnificent Kevin.
And then we have 3-time player, Keegan.
Following that, we have probably the most famous player of this season that isn't Keegan or Kath, who have played other seasons, or probably Rosemary. She might be more famous than Rosemary, I don't know. But it is the face of Melbourne Survivor 1 on YouTube. It is Nicole.
All right, this is the next one is the person who should have really been 10th because all the K's are near each other, and then Nicole breaks it up. But we have another K with Kerry Lee.
Kerry Lee, who's in the comments right now, devastated by the lack of...
I'm not looking at the comments, so I don't know. Are you cheating?
Kerry Lee is not in the comments.
I was making a joke about that earlier, but you're not there for the Kerry Lee joke.
Yeah, but I'm just...
Same face on. She's too serious.
I'm in laser focused.
Next is Liz's sister, the sadly 2-time pre-merge boot Rosemary.
And then we have someone else who would later appear in Backyard Survivor in Mitchell.
Next we have a guy who, he broke my cardinal... Oh, I'm going to get that wrong. Ooh, almost made a mistake because I'm getting excited.
Oh, I was excited there. I thought I was going to steal.
I almost made a mistake. This one is Lauren. I have no information on Lauren.
And what you were about to say is the person who broke your cardinal sin of do not wear sunglasses. That is Cam.
And of course, the first boot ever in any of these LRGs. Liz says she's an incredibly lovely person. Would love to get her back for a season because Liz is such a bleeding heart. This person's goal was not just, if she made one vote, she was happy. But sadly, she didn't achieve that, and that was Sophia.
All right. We are 8-all, guys.
Is there no comments from that? Like, surely everyone's just blown away by this shit. Was Mitch here for his one?
Hey, look,
He was here for his own. He was here for his own, but there's been no. They're just like cannot believe. Oh, you're updating your own headlines, are you?
Oh yeah, I'm doing it. So yeah. Anyway, it's a bit hard to see.
As long as you update my score properly, my screen's too small. I can't even see. So I'm just.
You can't see.
I'm just remembering.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. So do we switch orders? Does CK go first, or do I keep going first?
No, because there's enough odd seasons that it will automatically switch from time to time.
All right. So the winner of the first season of Backyard Survivor was Sally.
Beautiful. Oh, look at this. This is some fancy stuff.
Yeah.
In second place, look, no offense to Sally, and to be honest, the top three were basically the same person with the exact same game. But I think in backyard lore, we all would have been happier if this person had somehow got an extra vote or two, and that's the amazing Amy.
And was he a 0-vote finalist, or did he get votes? I don't remember how many votes he got, but third place was Tyrone.
This is some amazing work. Fourth place is she was a late minute call up. She didn't know she was going to play. She was the reserve. She was out on the town when she got the call. Did she go home early and get some sleep? No. She kept partying on and showed up hungover as fuck. Spent the entire game just an absolute mess, yet still won challenges. Still was able to play strategically at the end of the day and managed to take out fourth place. That is the amazing Emma.
Very good. Now, fifth place, we would probably argue, was the MVP of the season. If the ORCA award was for the best player, that was who would have got it, but that's not what the ORCA award is for. Fifth place was Rosie.
If there was an award for loosest unit of the season, or perhaps the entire LRG 13 series, I think this guy might get it. Let's talk about the remarkable Rem right here.
Oh my, what is that vote?
Backing it up. Backing up what I'm saying.
All right. Next up, we have, I've just got this image of the three of them sitting there holding hands. This one is David N.
I believe his name is David with the hat. Can we get
David N.
His name is David with the hat. Damn it.
Melbourne too.
No, he was David with the hat.
Well, you know, the thing there does not say hat. It says N.
Sure, but I'm telling you that was what he was called.
All right.
The next up is there's two people who I watched them and they inspired. I watched Warren Diet and they inspired me to apply because I'm like, this shit is amazing and I love these two people. This is one of them. I love you, Calvin. You played badly in this season, so badly, but I loved you on Warren Diet.
This next person flipped on her alliance and was awarded by getting promptly voted out. It's Rhiannon.
The next person is someone whose name I always used to forget. Like, of all the ones I've had to study, this is one I had to like really sink into my brain. And he was a reasonably big player. I think he actually probably was a bit robbed of the ORCA, to be honest, but I just got so excited about the actual
No, he was
ORCA
not
winner.
robbed of the ORCA. The ORCA here was promptly was given appropriately.
This guy had ORCA potential. He was really into himself, that's for sure. And that is, of course, Daniel.
Next up, so now we're into pre-merge. The challenge beast, she tried to carry her tribe through, but was unsuccessful. It is Rachel.
Rachel is someone I used to get confused with. Again, I had to study which one of these was which because they get booted next to each other and like, you know, they were different people because as you say, Rachel was a bit of a challenge piece, but this other person just seemed really, really lovely, perhaps too lovely for Survivor, and that is Tamara.
You guys are killing it.
hang on. Now you're throwing me off. Hang on. Hang on. Next is going to be. Next up is Sam.
No quips about Sam?
I was like mainly making sure that I got the right answer. I was not 100% sure that I was right.
All Sam wanted was to get on the beers.
Yeah.
That's what his opening confessional was about. He wasn't here for Survivor. He was here for the party at the end. He was on those beers as soon as he was booted. He was on those beers in the battle back, and he was deep on those beers at Final Travel Council. Sam, he had a goal, and he achieved it, and he should be proud of that. And now, I don't know if this is somewhat fortuitous to my success or because I'm, one of maybe the Orca Prime, that I'm getting all the Orcas on here. That's another Orca. And this, of course, the Orca of the season, the magnificent Matt. Orca for just complaining nonstop about everything, bitching to Kyle about the challenge, how it was so unfair, complaining about the heat, complaining about this, complaining about that. You lit up our screens for 2 episodes, Matt. We love you.
And then the first player ever voted out of Backyard Survivor who would go on to get a second chance in season 4, it is David B.
That's
or David without the hat, whatever you want to call it.
Yes. All right, so score check. No one's doing anything wrong. This is why I told you, Danny, we should do it like golf. If you get one wrong,
No, it doesn't matter. Look, neither of us have missed. I'm on 16, you're on 15.
Correct.
Okay. All right, let's throw up the comments from that moment.
So from that moment, we had Hungover Emma.
Oh, she was amazing. I love her. Bring her back.
Oh, sorry. Carl said not to be pedantic, but apparently Backyard 1 was first. Sorry, Carl.
He has said that very thing on this podcast.
Yeah, I believe Backyard 1 was first, but...
So you should have been paying attention.
No, sorry.
That's for Ram. Most
episodes without a shirt, yeah.
And then confirmed they are different people.
That was Tamara and Rachel.
Kyle would know.
All right. Backyard 2. I'm ready.
Now, I was
going back to CK to start.
Now, if I'm being honest I did watch some of Warren Diet before I watched Backyard 2, but I didn't finish Warren Diet first. I certainly tuned off after my faves were voted out. This is the first season I ever watched in my entirety. This is the first one that ever actually popped up on my YouTube, Facebook algorithm. It got me into this community. It is one of the best seasons. It was robbed in the rank down. It is dynamic and so interesting and gave us one of my, I think, the best winners we've had. And there's a lot of good winners. Generally, the LRG winners are good. But one of the best winners, and that is Jay. Fabulous. Woman fabulous player.
Amazing. And then runner-up was Sarah.
Sometimes you play an amazing game. Sometimes you're the darling of CK because you are a fucking epic strategic beast, making moves in the back like a faceless labor, henchman, making the moves, getting the outcomes, whatever they do. And you know what? You get to the jury and you sort of fuck up the Final Travel Council and don't own your game properly. And even if he did own his game properly, I doubt he was winning with that jury. But I adore you, Stephen. You were incredible. And so you should have at least got second place. No offense, Sarah.
All right, 4th place. I would say this was the MVP of the season. His second appearance, and we will see him again one more time. It is Keegan.
The only 3-time player. Fortune once again favors.
I know. As soon as you went first, I'm like, oh my god, you're going to get the Orca again.
The Orca Prime is being endowed with the Orca power. And I didn't control who went first. That was some random thing you guys cooked up to start off with. But yeah, it's all falling upon myself. And I get to again announce another amazing Orca. I believe the first female Orca we ever had. Won it basically on the tea party when she realized Stephen really wanted it. And she's like, no, give it to me. Fuck that guy. And that's where the votes went. Jess is number 5. And I must say, I don't think there is a better Final 5 than this Final 5 in any of the LRGs.
It's a pretty brilliant Final 5. Absolutely.
Stacked Final 5. And it's awkward that we say that when the person who is in 6th is apparently in the comments. We did see him earlier. We've mentioned him in Melbourne 1. Here he is again. It's Mitchell.
He's devilish in name, but not devilish by nature. Next, we have everyone loves a sassy flamboyant man on their LRGs, and this guy would be in the running for probably the best and the most flamboyant and sassy, and that is the wonderful John. Look at that face, just delivering the goods right there.
All right, I'm gonna struggle here because this is a double. So I'm gonna.
This is, and I will confirm this now. This is on Snuffage.
On Snuffage.
On Snuffage. Who was Snuff?
Oh no! Because I have a 50-50 chance. I don't know whose torch was snuffed first. I am gonna say that it is Claudia that was next. Yes!
I checked the Snuffage to get this order. This is Eden, if you're watching, this is wrong on the wiki, so you need to fix this stuff. I don't know what's going on in that wiki. I was fact checking it, and I know I could mend the wiki, but this is incorrect on the wiki. And I was watching this, and I was like, Tristan, you fool! It's Tristan. They both get voted out. On this tribal council, it's a double tribal, and it's whoever has the two highest vote getters, and they both have 3 votes. And he stands up first and gets snuffed before Claudia gets up, purely by standing and walking to Kyle first. There's no other metric here. There's
not an ORCA, all right?
Yeah. I said, wait for Claudia to stand up and get 1 extra finishing position higher. Like, what are you doing, mate?
Not an ORCA. He doesn't care about that.
We all care about. Well, to be fair, the wiki didn't exist then, but now that the wiki exists, people would care about this.
Who is it?
That's Tristan. I said it.
Oh, see, sorry.
All right, so now we're at 10th place. It is going to be our Battleback King, AJ.
And now we have a legend of Survivor, an LRG. Not necessarily a legend as a player. Like, he was a good, solid player. But I don't think anyone else was the victim of a 3 correct idle play scenario to get yourself booted at a final, 13 or whatever this hell was. It was Jay's bestie to Neil.
Like, absolutely robbed Goddess. Played her own idol for someone else. All votes negated. She goes out on the revote. Absolutely tragic. All right. The next one. So, again, we're going to pre-merge. AJ was the last pre-merger, but he came back in. So, the one before that. Is this Daniel? Oh,
Jess's nemesis, Daniel. Who had all the plans except to bring his actual tribe mate in to actually try and make a move when he played an idol. A couple of tribals before this. Definite contender for the ORCA. He was very awkward. And
okay, I'm just going to say you won't have the chance to steal. Just I'm going to hit enter if you get it right or wrong. So it just means you get it wrong. The next person can't steal it because I can't see who's next.
Okay.
The next person, also a massive contender for the ORCA. This guy, one of my favorite moments in this season is when they do the running around challenge, hot pursuit, and they've got the weight. He drops out that 5 seconds into it. Yet when his team wins, his tribe wins, he celebrates like he fucking led them to victory and actually starts talking smack on the other tribe. That was the amazing Jake. We love the energy he brought.
All right, and next up we have someone who was simply victim of a tribe swap. There's nothing really more about it. And being lumped in with Daniel, it is Casey.
I debate that. If Daniel had brought her into the move, they could have idled someone out together.
No, but like they hated Daniel so much that it was just, and they knew he had an idol, so it was like, oh, he's going to have to take out Casey instead. We don't want to. The girls didn't want to vote her out, but it
was only because Tennille didn't get the memo about who they're supposed to be voting for that there was even an errant vote on someone else.
Yep, this is fair.
It wasn't even a plan. Daniel, they could have done better on that. The next person, look, the backyard Survivor graveyard is riddled with these lovely women who you just wanted to get to know better, and they never really got a chance. This is the one from this season, and seemed like a really lovely woman, and that was Helen.
She thought they were going to go hold through with their everyone vote for each other thing, and she actually bought that.
Too nice for her own good. Too nice for her own good.
First boot in typical backyard style. Got a chance to come back for backyard 4, and that is Holly.
What was her final words? Hope you enjoy bananas or something.
Oh, because he took the bananas instead of no, he took the idle clue and said, I don't know.
But there was a hilarious bit where on Helen's vote out, like I think Kyle says something like, "It's our first blindside." She's like, "Second blindside." All right. Well, we finished yards apart. Amazing season. Can we get a score update, please?
Yes.
No one's missed yet.
Yeah, no one's missed yet. So Jules is on 24. CK, you're on 23.
You bring up the comments.
In the comments. All right. So we had a lot of Jake love.
Oh, Jake love. All right.
Jake was great.
Yeah.
Yes, Jake. Love Jake. Casey Phil. Oh, that's a spoiler.
I mean, it's all right. It's fine. It's fine.
Absolute all-star cast.
That's a big comment from
That's
Jess.
like the one season your family is not on.
Yeah, big comment from her.
Helen is lovely in person as well. Here you go.
Yeah.
Enjoy your bananas, Daniel.
Yeah, there you go.
Poor Holly.
Oh, yes.
Take it too soon. Holly.
Mitch, you have some responsibility for that. You're wearing that colour.
Fair.
Lauren Dite.
Warren Dirt.
The one that we spoke about for 3 hours, CK. I don't know how we did it, but we did it.
I wasn't there for that one.
That's close. That would be one of our longest running pods, right? The Warren Dite?
Yes.
Rewatch?
Yes. And you
Which
know,
I never thought would be the
This
case.
is what
I
happens
was
when
like,
I'm not there to keep you two on track. You just go
it was
off.
such a stunning season. We had to talk about it for 3 hours. This season is called Warren Dirt for a lot of reasons. It looked like a fucking dust ball of dirt that they had to play in. But it's also because it's a little bit dirty. Of all the seasons, it loses some of its luster because of the winner. And, you know, some might say that's because he controversially was in a relationship with the second place person that no one knew about. But for me, it's because he's the only winner that wouldn't come on our fucking podcast for the rank down when we did the deep dives. So, Dirty Jake.
Talk shit about him.
Dirty Jake. I was reservedly nice about Jake during that thing, despite his absolute cheating victory, with the hope that he would come on this show and at least do a deep dive with me about what a good social game he played and how he wasn't really with his boyfriend for like most of the game. I was being very, very nice to try and get him on, but he still would not show up. So, Dirty Jake, dirty player, wouldn't come on the podcast. Ba-bam.
Sorry, I can see Tara asking what point CK missed. He hasn't missed one yet. It just we had Backyard 1 only has 15 players, so I started first.
all right. Who went? Who's next?
I've said Jake. I've called him dirty like 5 times.
I'm sorry.
All right, and then second place was his boyfriend, Nick.
Secret boyfriend. All right. Third place, and maybe on the Tour de France scale, is the winner because the other two have been banned for doping. For loving, maybe. They've been banned, and the third place, say winner, is the original. I know we have the Baldock dynasty, but the original family dynasty of Survivor, Toby and Keegan's sister, Emily.
All right, fourth place, we have the man, the myth, the legend, CM.
And his bestie and partner in crime, unbelievable. You know, you start this season, you go, this guy would. If you told me he was making 5th place, I'd be like, take all my money. It's the fantastic Rancy.
Almost first boot to 5th place, not bad. 6th place, we have Jason Muscles.
When I found out that he and Kyle used to date, I fell over. It's like the hottest couple I've ever seen in my life.
That's accurate.
Next, this isn't an ORCA yet, but it's my. I said there were 2 people I watched in this season that inspired me to be a part of this community, inspired me to play, inspired me to apply for Melbourne Survivor. I got to talk about Calvin back in Backyard 1. Why are you looking at me like that? Why are you looking at me like that, Jules? No, Yeah, a lot like you're trying to trick me into saying the wrong thing. But I love this person. I adore them. I drafted them recently, and they had no chance in hell. This is the brilliant Tara.
The look on my face was me trying to remember who comes next.
Can we just take a moment?
Absolutely, take a moment for Queen Tara.
We love her.
No one, I don't care how many slide puzzles they run in LRGs, no one will do a slide puzzle like Tara did that slide puzzle.
And the amount of smack she was
And the
talking before,
smack
like, don't worry,
talk.
guys, I got this.
Fantastic.
All right, for 8th place, since we're talking about families, what about Liz's husband, Liam?
I believe they were only sort of recently
They weren't
dating.
okay. They weren't married yet, but then her now husband.
I think they were recently dating, and she killed
like,
him
yeah,
onto
please
this
play.
as like a replacement. That's when she knew he was her true love.
But yeah, I mean, he made the merge, so he's dateable.
Yeah, exactly. It was proven. I'm a bit sad about the boot order here because I'm going to miss out. It's the first time I'm not going to get the order.
I'm going to get it this time.
But a very, very savvy and strategic player that I think everyone saw as a massive threat, and I think she really was, and that was Ingrid. And I'd like to say about Ingrid is she looks like someone I would, if you tell me someone's called Ingrid, this is what I imagine. She was like very tall, like had that Norwegian tall, like, you know, I don't know if she's from Norway, but she had that Norwegian tallness to them, while being and blonde, while being called Ingrid.
All right, 9th place, 10th place. My first Orca of season 2. We saw him in Backyard 1. Here he is again. It is Calvin.
Legend.
Played a much better game here.
Mm-hmm.
Still wasted his idols, but it was more dramatic. Well,
Yeah.
we thought maybe it was dramatic. Who knows? The footage is lost to time.
We don't know. We only heard the audio.
So now we go to the pre-merge, and you know every villain needs their foil. Every orca needs some poor hapless soul to just destroy their dreams, to suck them in, to steal their idols. And this was poor innocent Natalie who suffered under Calvin's reign of terror.
There's always someone who like foils under an orca.
Next up, I would say we're one of the hardest working people in the LRG community, and that is Vince.
Don't let the banana shirt deceive you.
Don't let the banana shirt fool you.
He's such a sweet face.
Yeah.
I always felt that Vince did better in this season just because of how much of a presence he is later on. So when I watched it, I was surprised to see him go pre-merge. This other one is also someone I met when they were doing crew for Melbourne Survivor when I played, and they were incredibly lovely person. They were doing some like first aid, and I had a splinter, and they helped me with that. My poor little splinter. Absolutely lovely person.
Well?
Hmm?
Did they call you a wambulance as well?
No, she was like very caring. I felt very cared for. And she goes in a very dramatic circumstance here. This is what probably the most interesting vote of Warren Dirt. It's both sides are trying to engineer a 3-2-1 and ultimately work out that's what's going on. They go for a flat 3-3. Then it's going to go to Rocks. And at that point, her old tribe turned on her because she wasn't really in their alliance. And that was the lovely Angela.
Ange.
Oh, we love Ange. Next, we had Jason Muscles. This was Jason with the hat. I couldn't remember the initials, so it's just he's
just with that. He was too old for this season, I feel.
Yeah, I think someone wrote on his parchment "Old Jason," which is a bit mean. I'm fairly certain that is what was written on one of the parchments.
Well, it would have been better than like less attractive Jason, which is also objectively true, but would have also been not very nice, right? And that's because Jason is more attractive than probably I'd say every other man that's played one of these LRGs. Jason Muscles, that is.
Okay, big call.
Well, when he said I got excited about Hayden and Kyle's little thing. He's a hot guy, right? The dreads, the muscles, they're all working for him. They're all working.
All right, so calm down.
It's a hot guy, right? And I say that as a straight-blooded male. He's a hot guy. He's the sort of guys that most straight men want to look like. Women might not like it, but that straight guy's like, I want to look like that. That's what, anyway.
You digress. Who's next?
Next is somewhat of a baffling player. It's a strange circumstance that she managed to not be the first boot. She almost wasn't the boot here, except that she was telling Calvin and co that she'd just decide at tribal council who she was going to vote for, which is incredibly unreliable and not acceptable to someone like Calvin. But, arguably, perhaps had more first boot potential than the first boot. But she's not the first boot. She's the second boot, and she has a cool hat, and her name is Steph. Panda hat.
And the first boot of Warrandyte is probably one of the greatest first boots in the LRGs. I think there's only one other person who could maybe rival them for it, and that is JP.
I think he is the greatest first boot because the person that will rival him, if we think of the same person, had an opportunity to remain in the show by way of an edge or redemption, whereas to actually be this iconic with only one episode, it takes something pretty special.
Well, he was in a lot of other episodes because he hung around all the 2 days and filmed, which is well done.
And then became just a cornerstone of the community, which is very difficult. A lot of people, I don't know, because I've not been a first boot, but speaking to first boots and some of them, they don't, it's hard to become part of the community. Is that we don't look down upon them at all. You went out there, you tried your best. There's no shame. But we're not them, and I think some of them find it very, very hard. When they're big Survivor fans, this was a dream, and to go out there and go out first is pretty rough. So what JP has done with that, he's a great sport about it. He's always great jokes about it, and become such a huge part of the community is a real credit to him.
Absolutely, 100%. The Warrandyte got a lot of love, guys.
Yeah,
bring up the comments.
Jake was a great winner. Shush. But Emily deserved it.
Secret relationship.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry, Tara.
Comment thread is important. Dirty joke. Full of grubby players.
Yeah.
Grubby host too.
See, I've been forever iconic.
Obviously, love Queen Tara.
Yeah, I love Tara.
Tara, ultimate icon. I'm gonna go some teeth. They were 2 weeks into dating.
Wow.
She pulled it in as a last-minute replacement for these.
And look, it was a good test.
Jason refused to pay for Oh shit. Oh god. There you go. Jason M, which stands for hat. Jason hat.
Yes, that's exactly right. I remember the 2 David's initials, but Jason, no, I don't remember that.
Oh, this can be life-threatening.
All right. You can have a ambulance as well for your injury.
This cast.
With face balms.
Oh, yeah. Calvin is one of Kath's favourite people on the earth.
Honestly, Kath, I think most everyone in this community is your favourite person on the earth.
Kath loves everybody. Kath loves. She's a big lover, Kath.
Kath has a little love to give, and we love that for her.
All right. So, score update. Again, you guys are missing. Yeah. So, Jules, you're on 32. CK, you're on 31.
I like the psychological advantage of being 1 point ahead.
I'm not like that.
It'll get wiped out when we finish this season because this is another one with an odd number. But for now, I'm holding on to it.
Season 3, Exile. I've made my views clear on this. It's a season where, from a production point of view, everything that could go wrong went wrong. All of the advantages, other than one really interesting advantage that somehow ended up being incredibly interesting, ended up with the wrong people. The Power Alliance, to the point they were just sitting there with more idols than they needed at Final 6, Final 5, whatever it was.
Final 5, they were trying to hand their idols to each other.
Which makes it uninteresting. But, there's not much you can do in production. And they did have one of the greatest players we've ever seen in a person to be named in the future. But what it also gave us was a really great winner. And I think that helps hold up the season as well. Played a very, very strong social, strategic, and physical game without ever being like the number one in any of those things. And I think that's ideal Survivor. And he was an interesting and very likable player. I think, very close to, a Luke Toki in a way. So great player. Really love him. The winner of this was Halim.
Very strong winner. And you mentioned his Power Alliance, the first runner-up, the Challenge Beast, who was also holding on to 2 idols, including one half of a dinner plate-sized super idol. It's Jake.
Ooh, no, it's not.
No, oh my God.
Jake has way more votes in the game than Samara does.
Wait, I thought Jake had more votes at Final Tribal.
They have the same votes, they have 1 each.
Ah, no. All right.
It's the lovely Samara.
Damn
the deserved second place with the same amount of votes and less votes throughout the whole game. Not by much, though. And so then in third place, we have the aforementioned Jake.
Damn it.
Balls. Oh, no.
And now I wish see, I should have gone first and then I would have known. Oh no! All right, you're gonna get one wrong eventually. I know it. I can sense it.
Wow.
Okay.
What are these names?
We're okay. Fourth place was Caitlin.
Okay, so I've just gone to the next slide and the names didn't go with the pictures. So So you're saying Caitlin?
Yeah, Caitlin.
That's correct.
Who's next, CK?
It is the aforementioned most amazing confessionalist in the history of our LRG community. The incredible, and of course, once again, the Orca gods have deemed upon me the Orca of the season right after I take the lead, even whatever this is, based on your little funny business at the beginning of the episode. It's just destiny. It's serendipity. It's Andrew.
Don't say that there's any funny business because you going first in this season is what fucked me. If I had gone first, you would have said Samara and I wouldn't have got it wrong. So there's no funny business. All right.
The one after.
I got to come back. I'm not going to be doing any funny business talking about how great they are. 6th place was Raph.
Who?
Raph.
Raphael.
Yeah.
All correct.
Can't believe you're not giving Rafe some love. The
guy that got shamed for not wanting to go to a 50-50 rock draw.
Yeah, it was incredible. Andrew wouldn't shut up about it for like the entire season.
Andrew, who is safe because of the rock advantage, who he doesn't have to draw a rock, and he's like, "Well, shame on you for not doing it." All right, buddy, give him your rock.
It's the best moment of the entire season. It's so good. So now we have we know
because I'm gonna lose.
I don't know if he's in the comments, but we know part of the dynasty is in the comments live cheering this on. Thought he was a dead duck so many times and managed to squirm his way through to this position in 7th, and that is the fantastic Zach, who gave me a bit of a run for money on 12th. I think I won.
He did. He messaged me wishing me luck before we started, so I'm fairly confident.
He didn't fucking message me.
Yeah, because he wanted me to win.
No one messaged me. This is outrageous.
Because they'll know that you're probably going to win. So they're just...
Yeah. Where's the message, Zach? Get on the winning team.
All right.
I think it was Zach that actually voted for Samara. Could be wrong on that. Well, you voted for Jake. You voted for Jake.
Yeah. So next is the person that I was pushing for to be Orca. He probably wasn't the level of Andrew, but I still maintain he had Orca vibes. It is Ben. Blanked on his name for a second.
Ben definitely had Orca vibes. He was on the tea party.
Vibes, yeah.
You're on the tea party. You got some level of Orca going on. And following that is a player we've already mentioned before. And this time we can give her a little bit more love and respect than what we gave her on Melbourne. One when she didn't have a picture. Liz's bestie, from Melbourne, unlike Liz, who was from Brisbane. The returnee from the Battleback, one of the most impressive Battlebacks, I must say. Jeff was really impressive, and it was a tough. These things are always tough because Kyle's just
This is
elite.
probably the
on them.
hardest battle back challenge I've seen.
And they trial them out on Kyle, and he does them in like 5 minutes. They're like, this is easy as shit. Stop trialing your challenges on Kyle. He's just a beast at this stuff. But Kath was super impressive on this and this whole season, and that's who is in this position.
All right, our merge
They've been a really
boot.
like interesting, funky band as well. Just wow.
Our merge boot. She came into the merge like down in a very bad position. Her and Zach were against the world. It is Liv.
Ah.
Zach, go back.
Don't worry. I don't know, because I already have my spiel ready. I don't know if we've talked about this on Backyard, how there's this lovely woman who maybe is not cut out for Survivor, who ends up getting screwed every season. And I don't know if it's Olivia or it's Sammy. And I think it's probably Sammy, because Sammy got really fucking screwed when they got to choose who went to exile. There's a possibility that after all of Andrew's lecturing, Rafe might have flipped. But once they sent Olivia to exile, Sammy was a dead duck.
She was fucked. Next, we have I believe, the first ever Australian LRG victim of a rock draw in Stephen.
He seemed like a really nice guy too.
Yeah, 50-50 rock draw.
That Rafe had no issues with whatsoever.
Rafe was more than happy to flip onto Caitlin.
Yeah, more than happy. Too late, Rafe. You should have flipped earlier. And that's a lesson for those players out there. Flip earlier before you get to rocks. And now we have a bit of I think we're a star of this season, a really big character. She was on the Tea Party, of course, and that says all, and that is Maddie.
Next, we have another very strong ORCA contender, I believe. In very early pre-merge boot. Managed to get to the swap and not much further than that. It is Jeff.
Got to be the most interesting job title we've seen on anyone from the LRGs. The creative generalist himself, Jeff. He should have won the ORCA on that being his job title alone.
Yeah.
It sounds like something was made up.
Totally made up.
The next person, when I did my interview for Melbourne Survivor, they said at the end, do you have any questions for us? And I think they expect you to ask questions about, I don't know, travel, how you get there, what the day might be like. My question for Liz was, why didn't you play your idol here? Like, you were so obviously going. And she had no answer. Sorry, Liz.
Yeah.
That was
And
my
then-
little question in the interview.
Look at that baby face Liz too. Look what a
I
baby.
know.
I literally asked that question.
You're a dick.
Jeff and Liz would not be complete without their third member of their trio in James.
There's nothing like a 3-person power alliance when you leave 5 back at the camp. Optimal strategy.
In an alternate universe, this was the trio that ran the game.
And the first boot, and some of the first boots of Backyard have a rough trot, which we'll talk about. But this one really saw redemption at a later point after a very disappointing first affair. The very lovely Kiara.
We love Kiara. We don't need a score update. We can move on.
Well, we're even, I believe, because you.
No, we're not.
No, you're 2 up.
You're not 2 up.
1 up.
1 up. I
Hang
only
on.
missed 1.
She missed 1, but you
Yeah,
said no
sorry.
steals.
Yes, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
No,
we're
we're
even.
1 up.
I'm even.
No, because there were 17 here. So
Oh,
we should have been back to even Kelter, but yeah.
oh, well.
Yeah, all right, calm down. Pressure's
Let's get
on
some
you now.
comments. Let's get some
You-
comments while we have a break. For this
You
one.
can't miss.
I won't miss it.
All right, let me scroll back, my loves. Okay, we saw that Zach was here. Just calls him the head of the dynasty.
Isn't the dad the head of the dynasty?
Apparently not. Got Jess.
I'm saying because that because he played first.
Yeah.
Well, loved Catherine this season.
Mhm.
Poor Sammy. Of course, Ash loves a rock draw. Good behavior for Ashley. Hot Steven.
He was hot.
Zach, my whole alliance on one page. Even Maddie was shook when she went.
Yeah.
Ash is sticking the knife in further. Liz says she has an answer.
I know her answer. She's given me her answer before. She really wanted to link in with Halim later on, and use that super idol. But like, she was in
but
such
you
a
need
bad
to still
spot.
be there to use the super idol.
James is Rob.
Zach, you were the one that robbed him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam Green has given me the quote of the episode. You're a dick. Space from LRG. No, Liz is saying no. Jess Baldock is the sweetest woman in all of the LRGs.
I think it's Kat.
She's the head of the Baldocks.
Okay. Lucky one. Yeah. I think Kat's the sweetest woman in the LRGs.
Yeah.
All right. Where am I?
We're loving all these comments. We're loving all of you being here live. By the way, I just want to take this moment. If you weren't here at the start, and I know most of you weren't because there was only 2 people here.
Do you want to play the video again? Take a break?
I won't play the video again. I'll play the video at the end, maybe.
Play it again.
But we have a brand new start video sung by the lovely Ash. It's amazing. Go and watch that. We finished. And I did about a 10-minute thank you to everyone. So check that out later on.
All right, we're back to me going first, where I should be. So I can't mess up the runners-up. We're okay. So Canberra won. The winner there, after a tied final tribal council and an additional vote, is Jeremy.
I can't believe there was a Ghost Island situation.
It was.
Where do we rank Jeremy and Liv in the hot couples rankings? With Kyle and Jason. Do you guys know they're a couple?
No, I didn't know they were a couple.
Jeremy and Liv, like the host.
Oh, I did not know that. That's
I don't know if they're a couple at the time.
That's a power couple.
They're a couple now. I don't know if they're a couple at the time. They're a couple now. I found that when I did deep dive. Next, we have the guy that went in, the front runner into Tribal Council. And it didn't have a bad final Tribal Council, but Jeremy's was just so good that it put him over the edge, or at least to get to an even point where we had our Ghost Island situation. That was Brad. Brad, of course, famous for... Now I'm blanking. Did he push Keegan or did Keegan push him? One of them pushed the other. I think Keegan pushed
when they were hunting for that idol.
Oh, that was a brutal push.
Fight.
It's the most aggressive thing we've seen, a physically aggressive thing in any of the LRGs.
And then our third place is the lovely Charlene.
These photos are incredibly well cut, Dani. Like,
oh, thank you very much.
Look at the space between Brad's arm. Like, there's no pixels on that. That's some quality work.
Oh, thank you. I won't reveal my secrets. But also shout out to the hosts who, if I couldn't find everybody's pictures, they were more than happy to search back through their computers and send them to me. So thank you to Dan for all of the camera footage that I couldn't get online, which was
we love you, Dan. Thank you.
Because for this, they were all with bright red backgrounds and things, and I was just like, that's not going to work. I need you to send me the original so I can
your eyes.
It was just not going to be pretty. So thank you, Dan.
Fourth place is the MVP of the season, the person that absolutely would have won this game if they'd been at the final Tribal Council. I think a really valuable member, I understand, of the Canberra community from this day. And that's and also I think the online community as well, in Outcast or Perjury, one of those things. And that's Ben.
And fifth place is Hoppo.
You got nothing to say about Hoppo?
Brendan Hoppo. I'm just actually really trying to remember the next few orders that come up, so I'm not really spending too much time thinking about these players. I'm trying to remember.
I would like to congratulate...
I can't afford to lose any more points.
I would like to congratulate Hoppo. For anyone that follows him on Facebook, he has decided to go on a weight loss journey. There's nothing wrong with the way he was, but obviously he decided that he wanted to perhaps be a bit fitter or lose some weight, and he's really just absolutely slaying that. So well done to you, Hoppo. Obviously this is something you wanted to do, and congratulations at how well you're doing it.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's looking good.
The next person needs no introduction. They're here live in the comments. We heard them sing their dulcet, beautiful tones into the intro video, which you all need to go back and watch later. It is the amazing Ash. And we're talking about Survivor power couples. Ash and Tara.
Yeah, that's a power couple.
100%.
All right, the reason I had to spend a lot of time thinking is because the next one is a double. It was 2 separate tribal councils, so I'm trying to remember which tribal council went in which order. I believe the one that was second, which will be this person, was the hella complicated 2-2, and then we'll vote out this person because we can't go to rock because there's only 4 people. I think it's Alex. No! This comes down to me being in the wrong order. I'm going to go back and check that because I'm confident that Alex went first.
Oh, Jules.
No. Hey, look, at least I'm only losing because of doubles. Like, I know who goes in what episode. It's the doubles that are fucking me up. So it all comes down to the order.
It's the 1%, baby. You got to get that last percent.
Yeah, I'm having to do all the double boots.
Ooh.
All right? That's the problem.
Well, I specifically studied these because these are the tricky ones. The next person, as you say, is Alex, who basically elected to leave the game to save her allies in a very magnanimous moment, and therefore instantly disqualifying herself for ever achieving any sort of ORCA award. I would never award a lovely person, but I cannot award an ORCA award to someone who voluntarily left the game to save their allies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna go guess like before because the names didn't.
Okay.
move.
Well, the next one, I get to say the ORCA award, the guy who took his shirt off. It's Dom.
Dom deserved more lust than that. I know you're
No,
disappointed.
I'm just pissed now because I'm
I know.
because
But
I got
Dom
all the
deserves
doubles.
a lot.
The
lot more
order
than
is
that.
fucking me up, and I'm mad.
Don't take it out on Dom. He was elite.
I called him the ORCA.
Next.
This is a controversial player, probably the second most controversial player after the aforementioned Jake. And not because he didn't come on my podcast, he wasn't invited, but the only medical evacuation we've ever seen in LRG history. Now, for those that don't know, it may have been a medical evacuation. He may have gotten sick. Or he may have got, for those that don't know, in this season, they didn't camp. They were just playing in a park, and everyone went back to their house or the hotel or whatever at the end of the first day. And the word is Isaac went to a party and maybe he had a little bit too much fun and he didn't show up for the second day. And while everyone was happy there to move up a spot, there's a lot of people pre-merge that would have loved to have been on that jury, and I just feel that's really disappointing for them all. Isaac.
And then one more. Jules.
Oh, that's me. Okay, hang on. I'm forgetting her name. She was wearing a red hoodie and blonde. Carlene.
Okay. What's her real?
Talking about power couples, we'll see her husband later on in the countdown.
You know all way too much of this stuff. I don't know these things.
I know all. Including the next boot. Now, a few people have played twice, and a few people, sometimes, you're really unlucky and you don't make merge both times, which is a bit shit. And sometimes you get swap screwed, and sometimes you get swap screwed twice. And that is what happened to Liz's lovely sister the second time here, where she was swap screwed for a second time. It is Rosemary.
That's Rose, yes.
Yeah. And next up, this was not a medevac. This was a, I'm not feeling very well. Can you guys all just vote me out? It is Laura. Laura, sorry. I feel like people were calling her Lara in the show.
I think they were calling her Lara. I think you're right. Whether that was her name or not, I don't know. But that's what they were calling her.
Really, I'm just doing this from pure memory. So you clearly have all these notes, and I just remember shit, and that's why I'm losing.
I don't have notes. It's all in the head. I studied the list of names. All this information that I'm spilling out, that's just coming on the fly. Just FYI. I studied the order, but I didn't study. Yeah. the next person is the star of the pre-merge, absolute king. So sad that he goes so soon, but has remained, much like JP, a real cornerstone of the Canberra and general community. Often is on our podcast, listening and commenting live, which we adore. It is the amazing Aston.
And the second boot of the season, I'll be honest, I don't remember a whole lot about this person, but it was Janine.
I also did not remember a lot about Janine. I apologize to Janine. And now,
I feel like sometimes second boots are like less memorable than the first boot. You remember who goes out first, but then second boot, it's like, I think I'd rather, if it was a choice between do you want to be first boot or second boot, I'll take first boot.
I think all second boots are less memorable than the first boots. In Real Survivor as well, like LRGs, Real Survivor, anything. Yeah. And no one remembers the second boots. But we do remember the first boot. And sometimes you play, you're dealing with a secret couple that no one knows about. Everyone's trying to get you out, like the entire merge. You have to win a bunch of challenges. And you're following in the footsteps of your brother who won the prior season, and this legend of this bigger-than-life legend in the other brother, and you get third. And you know what? That's a moral victory because it's talked about, on Tour de France rules, she's won. But here, you come on for your second shot. It's your redemption. I don't know how much redemption she needed, but she came on for a second shot, and just through a confluence of just a messy fucking tribe and a messier tribal council and people grabbing idols and whatnot, we saw Emily be the first boot.
All right.
Let's have a break for the people.
Comments. Jeez, I have to scroll back. Ooh.
I can see the comments number. There's quite a few for that one.
113.
There you go.
Loving the energy.
The time we're talking about the power couple.
Ah, yes, Jeremy and Liv. About who's the nicest person from Jess? They pushed each other. You can get pushed around. I think that is what happened. Yeah, definitely.
Look, I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Well, Brad's in real life twink from.
You need to read that out. Oh, Josh O'Brien said he loved Brad's real life transition from twink to beef daddy. Beef daddy.
Charlene was robbed. # Brad was pushed. Shark Queen. Yeah. Ben is fun to crew with. Hoppo 2. And Jess says she lost the nice person after voting Kath out.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
What a bitch.
I mean,
Queen Ash. There we go. Apparently, if you pay LRGs together, you stay together, especially in Canberra.
Beautiful.
Oh, Kyle, when are we doing Orcas at War?
Oh my God, we would kill each other.
CK has plans. Yeah. Just you wait.
Not doing Survivor though. That's someone else's thing.
We would murder each other.
I have a plan, but it won't be Survivor.
There is a plan for a game of Orcas.
Yeah.
I would come in with one goal in mind to outlast CK.
Party boy Isaac, yeah, the spot's a spot. Married at first tribal. Hey, Orca Mark is here running up. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're married. Man, the couples do really come from this season.
Some love for Aston. It's giving Mary. Didn't really know Mary. Aston was a legend. And then can we take a moment for Dom's jury question? Charlene was so robbed.
I don't remember Dom's jury question.
No, I'm not good on jury questions. Future Walsh listeners. I did that ice cream thing once. All right. What is the score?
I don't want to know.
Yeah,
I'm 2 down now.
Yeah,
I'm glad you can't steal, because then I'd be fucked.
Yeah, it's too hard for me to look ahead. So let's just.
This still doesn't work because you always say the other name. Well, you have in your case, yeah. So what is the score?
I'm doing it now. Give me a sec.
You're 2 ahead. That's all you need to know. You're winning.
Am I going first?
Yeah, you're on 49, and
no, it's me.
Yeah, Jules is next. CK, you're on 49. Jules would be 48.
Hang on. Oh, because I started behind.
Yes.
No, I was one up before we went into Canberra because it was a 17-person season on next time.
Yeah, we should be back. We've given the most amount of answers now, and I've got 2 wrong. So you should be 2 ahead.
Yes. Yeah, I just went backed off 1 down. You are. That's correct.
Yeah.
50 to 48. So we're doing
49 to 47.
Right, 47.
All right. I need you to get some wrong. Like,
What is the score?
I need to sabotage you in some way, and I don't know how to do that. So, but the winner of Backyard 4 was Sal. Played a great game, multiple idols. He was one of the biggest threats the whole way through, but they just left him. It's fine. We don't need to worry about him. But he kept bigger threats in front, actually. Let's be real. He kept other people that you're about to mention were bigger threats.
Well, I don't think the person I'm about to mention.
But.
Oh, I know this already, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think the person I mentioned, well, were they a threat? They had the comeback story absolutely annihilated at Redemption. And then, most people...
Oh, it's not who I'm thinking of.
Would feel besmirched by their original tribe voting them out and not just run back to them and vote with them for the next 6 votes. But that was her strategy, and it got her to the end, to second place. The vivacious, I'm just being alliterative, Valentina.
Okay. And then Jules.
And then third place, our confessional queen. Like, she knew she wasn't winning the game. She didn't give a shit. She was just there to have a good time and just be absolutely fire in her confessionals. If we're gonna be alliteration, the joyful Joe.
She was joyful. One of my favorite things about Redemption, which we'll talk about when we do our coverage of this starting next week, is the Redemption story worked out so well in that each of the first boots had a very different experience. And we got to ride that journey with each of them and what they got to experience on their second time around. No journey was more fulfilling emotionally than this person's. They seemed like the nicest person on Exile. They seemed devastated when they were booted there. And they've come back for an opportunity. And they didn't change who they were. They just seemed like a very, very nice, caring person. They use that as their gameplay. And normally that wouldn't be very threatening. But with the comeback story of the year and just being the most lovable person, she was too big of a threat to let go to the final Tribal Council, which, while winning would have been great, to be in a position where you were the person who was going to win if you got there, which I think was pretty clear, is an amazing redemption story and made this season what it was in a lot of ways. And that, of course, is Kiara.
I think that is the longest you've talked about any one person on this show so far.
What? I haven't talked about this season, so I've got lots to say.
Next week. Fifth place is a very good friend of the podcast. We all love him. He is here quite frequently commenting, especially during our Backyard 5 coverage. It is the lovely Josh O'Brien.
Got to be the most memorable fifth place due to recent events. Like, the amount of times we heard Josh came fifth in recent coverage was extensive. Like, if you were going to get any wrong, it wasn't going to be this one. In the sixth place, we have, this was the befalling of the Birac 4. And at this point, we have the very, very lovely Rachel. Loved the way she played, loved her game.
Loved her. And then we've got another friend of the podcast.
Fun fact. The first ever LRG podcast I ever did was on her boot with Josh, with JP and Vince, and I interviewed her with them. Actually, it may have been JP and Liz, I reckon. Me, JP, and Liz interviewed Rachel. First ever LRG pod I did.
There you go. That is a fun fact. But we have another friend of this podcast, someone who has crewed just about every single LRG there is. He did a great showing on 12th. I believe he beat you. It is Matt C.
Also was once in a power couple with Tara.
Also a last-minute addition to this crew, to this cast. He was not. He was
So
a.
much so, his loved one letter was from Calvin.
That was such an amazing moment. I adore that moment. And rounding out the Birac Four, who, but for a rock draw going a different way, and I don't want to undermine Salvador's game, which was great, or the Kiara's story, which was beautiful. I would have rather seen the Birac Four tear themselves apart at the Final Four than what we got. But regardless, that's the way it went. And of course, the first person to suffer on that rock draw was Michael.
Oh, now I've got another double. Fuck. Oh, no. And it's not like these are two definite tribals that are separate from each other.
And the thing, I clarified this with the hosts. I clarified it with the hosts. The order that it comes up is the order it is. It's on Snuffage.
Look, I trust you. I just don't trust my own memory. I feel like it is Matt B. Oh, thank God.
Yay!
I'm crying if I miss another one on a double.
I don't think that's right.
No, it is. Trust me, it is.
I went to the video.
I clarified this.
Hang on. Can we pull up the video?
You didn't lose a point. Just shut the fuck up, all right?
I don't think it's right, though.
This is fully clarified with the host. This is the order it went in.
Give me 1 second to pull up the video.
Oh, my God.
What's wrong?
My ruling is final.
Yeah,
I clarified this with the hosts. This is the order it's in.
If I lose, then we'll be going back to this.
You're already 2 up. Just calm the F train down.
So, the next person is a fantastic player, big energy, big maybe ORCA energy. I don't know.
This will be my vote for ORCA of the season.
I've only seen how it happened, but this is the. I once played with this person in one of Brendan Pratt's little mini survivors that I just happened to win, and that is Casper.
See, Kyle's saying it's correct. If Kyle says it, it's true.
If I say it's true.
So before the double, the last person to go, another person who I think could be a strong ORCA contender, maybe, is Fu. She was a lot of fun. That's probably why I want to vote for her for ORCA.
Sorry, Jake. I'm straight. Still straight.
That's funny.
But gay, actually. But you know what I was doing. It's this one is Jake.
Yeah. Okay.
Now it gets funky. Redemption makes tricky.
This is where it gets tricky.
To clarify, and let's just make sure we're all on the same page. In my view, it would be obviously if you lose the challenge and you're out. But because this had people losing the same challenges and sort of being double booted, it goes on who was actually voted out earlier is further down the chain. That makes the most sense, I think.
Is that what you've gone with, Dani?
I've gone with Wiki.
Okay, good. So we could be wrong.
The Wiki is correct on this.
All right. Well, look, I believe the person that lost that final redemption challenge that was the most recently person voted out was Dan.
What a character this guy was.
He was great. Loved him.
He has ORCA energy too.
That was a big blindside, his vote out.
Massive. He could have done some real damage in the merge. I think it could have been really interesting. And we talk about the redemption stories, the multiple redemption stories of this season. We have Kiara at the top end, and we have one being around this middle merge position. They have to fight hard through the pre-merge. They fight hard through a swap. It doesn't quite get them there. They bring a lot of chaotic energy. And I loved seeing this from this person because I think this was always in them and we never got to see it in Backyard 1. But that chaos was there. And that is, of course, David still without a hat. It says a lot about you when you see someone you know in real life and you go to them and say, hey, maybe this is a secret thing we can do.
And
later.
they go, nah.
And they go, no, I want nothing to do with you.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. All right, next we have some, okay. This is what I think is the person that's next. So I don't want to make like a big statement about who this person is and then be wrong, but I think I'm confident that this is a member of the Birak tribe that did not quite make the cut for the Birak 4, was a very early boot, but was a bit of a challenge beast on redemption for a little bit. It's Ken. Yes!
It was Ken. I believe if you are this way inclined, you can vote for this person if you live in the great state of Western Australia in the next federal election. It may not be a party that most of us would be a fan of, but that's the political democracy that we live in. So for those in Perth, maybe you'll be supporting your backyard survivor sister as she runs for Senate, and that is Julie.
Next up, Backyard does have a history, or LRGs have a history of keeping it in the family. We have another member whose brother played in season 2, and now here they are in season 4 in Fee.
I liked Fee. I think she could have been really good.
I think there was a nice little boys club happening. Boys club plus Foo, and then she was kind of on the outs.
Now, for the first boot in what is the most tragic
heartbreak
thing to ever happen in an LRG.
Francesca.
I remember watching this in the real time, and I remember messaging Matt Chang saying, I cannot believe you Francesca. That was fucking savage. Look, the Birak 4 aren't all to blame. I think some blame also sits on Fu, who production gave an idol, clearly intended to save whoever the fucking returnee was, or whatever tribe they were. I've talked about this with production, and they were equally shocked it went to Ken. And of course, then Ken gets booted, and I don't want to feel bad about poor Ken. He would have been the first boot. But the savagery it takes to Francesca someone in a community-based YouTube game is ideal, and that's why I would have loved to see the Birak 4 savaging themselves in the final 4. It could have been incredible, but they did it here. I don't think we'll ever see a more brutal move, and it's only made more brutal by Holly's confessionals and Brian's tears. It is just sadness personified. The emotional journey that is redemption ended with Kiara, but it started here with the saddest moment in the history of LRGs. It was Holly.
You got to say the name.
I said it multiple times.
Oh, okay.
Savage. Absolutely.
That's so mean.
So mean.
All right. Oh.
Yeah, I agree. That twist of like, hey, give an idol that only is good for one round to the tribe that goes to tribal first. Yeah, give it to the returnee, please.
Look, and maybe I could look, and this is nothing about David, but I could see them maybe not giving it to David. But like Kiara and Holly seem like the most genuinely nice people. Just protect those beautiful flowers. What are you doing? What are you doing, Pooh?
Zach says Kiara would have swept the jury if she made it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
One of the few times Mel was bald over an LRG watching Holly's boot. Mel loves Josh. Josh loves. Who's been loving us? I think it's only Birak people, 6 icons. Yeah. Stop giving things away, Laurel. Mitch has a fun season. Real love Rachel. Best alliance in LRG history. We could do a ranking on that one day. I think it's a pretty good one.
I think it's a contender, definitely.
Yeah. Chang.
I think it was because it was like 4 very entertaining characters.
Yeah.
Just want to reiterate this.
And they went to rocks for each other.
I'll run the video later.
Josh, I'm sorry. I know your game was too sneaky,
Josh,
too
underhanded. Josh, if you missed the video at the start, there's a line where people dream of being orcas one day, and I've got a picture of you. I don't know what that's going to mean, but you're in the starting sequence on that line.
Casper would look at that.
Yeah, there we go. Go back and look at that comment again. The one that Kyle just said. Casper will take a seat on the jury and then see Salvador play the idol that Casper kicked on the floor. There you go. Proof. Yeah. Thank you, Kyle.
I think what's confusing me is I had to reverse that one because it was wrong on the wiki. And then I looked it up and I'm like, this is wrong. So fix that, Eden.
Dan Splice is my favorite LRG vote.
Yeah,
today.
I remember when I was watching that, I was at work on my phone, and I was like, because even I didn't see that one coming.
I'm still sorry. Lovely girl, but it was the right choice.
He's
Why,
still playing for the ORCA here, guys.
The thing is, they vote out Ken to vote after. So you could have switched them and it makes zero difference for the Barack 4.
It's like to give the Holy Idol too.
Holy Idol too. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
What a moment.
All right. Score update. CK 58, Jules 56.
Sounds
Yeah,
right.
I know, I'm losing. And because I'm going first, I'm going to end up on all the doubles, I believe. So this is going to be a struggle for me. And you're claiming that I have an advantage by going first. No, it's a disadvantage. But anyway, we're going to go into Canberra 2.
Oh, no, Zach, give me just
All right.
switching. Yes.
We good?
Yes.
Soul Survivor. This was her second
If you
time
get this
playing.
wrong, there's a problem. Yep.
Yeah, second time playing, but first time we actually saw her play because of Melbourne 3 taking its sweet time, but it is Ma.
La Madrina, as we called her on the podcast. The godmother in Spanish.
The queen.
One of the most dominant games I think
Yeah,
we're likely to see.
Very out in front, like, why aren't you people voting her out kind of game.
Yet to be covered on the podcast,
Yeah.
coming up sometime in the future. As in the rank down.
Fuck.
You can't trick me there with your half names. You're not going to trick me. Because the name on TikTok is there. The other name is there. You can't fool me, Danny. You cannot fool me. You cannot have the alliance down there. I know what's going on with you two. And of course, we talk about love in Canberra Survivor. We talk about it makes more love than maths. She's met her now fiance as the runner-up, and that is Nick.
I especially love that it was a very intense rivalry through the show, and that turned to love. Like, that's beautiful.
Yeah, like, she does not say some nice things about him through the show.
There was no love during the season.
Nick, of course, famous for designing many of the logos of various seasons, which he does an incredible job of. He even designed the logo of this season, which he was on. Don't know how that worked, but he did it.
Yeah, you don't need to know anything about the season to make a logo.
True.
But
That's how he got on. He's like, Dan, if you cast me, I'll make you a bitchin' logo.
Yeah. I mean, DC made the snuffer for Backyard 5.
He did.
But
So
we're talking about Canberra 2 right now, and third place was the lovely and one of probably the strongest person in the LRG community in Sophie.
Deadlifting beast. Her gym stuff's out of this world. Love it. And she's a regular watcher too. And that's why we've noticed that picture of her doing that massive deadlift on a regular basis. Yeah. In fourth place, we had Mars right-hand man. I first met this man playing a game of The Weakest Link that Billy Stevens ran while we raised money for Melbourne Survivor? I don't know. We're raising money for something. I actually went to the end and lost to Brienne. I could have dragged Max and won, but I was trying to raise more money for the final. So I brought Brienne and she managed to beat me. She was dating Billy at the time. That's probably as rigged as what's going on down here. But regardless, the thing about Weakest Link is you vote someone out, and if they don't get voted out, you just keep voting them out because you don't want to put other targets out there. So I reckon I wrote down this person's name about 8 times during the course of the Weakest Link before I finally got him out, and that was Michael.
Lovely guy. I've met him a few times now. Fifth place is the person that the sixth place person could never remember the name of. It is the lovely Anna.
I think her name is Amy.
Amy.
And I think we can get back on and the next person is the aforementioned person who could not get the name right, but she did. And I predicted she would not do well in this season, and she likes to raise that with me, but I didn't know she'd get a super idol or use the super idol to such good effect, and that is the fantastic Mel.
Oh, we love Mel.
Mel, I understand, has recently taken on a role of doing a lot of props for various LRGs, and I've seen some pictures of them, and they look amazing.
Killing it. Absolutely killing it.
All right. Before Mel was Joe.
Seems certain.
Yeah, I'm not confident.
I was like, oh, fuck, Jules.
No, it's the next two. I'm pretty sure, but I was like, hang on. I just want to make sure I get this right.
Joe played that little fun game of, I don't really know Survivor. And then people start wondering if that's true or not. And she's going to drop some sort of FTC bombshell that she's like the biggest super fan. She didn't really know the game. And I don't think Nick ever really truly forgave her for voting for him. But, then he started throwing votes on Sophie for shits and giggles. So, that's the way cookie go crumbles, Nick. Next is, it's got to be the guy with the best hair and beard combination in the entire LRG community. There was a rock band once upon a time called the Beards. They're a sort of a comedy band, but they did pretty well. It was pretty fun. He could have been in them. Easy done. He could have been a member of the Beards, and that's Malcolm.
And next up, we have not given an official ORCA award for this season yet, but when we do, it is probably going to be this next person. He is the reason we are called the ORCA podcast. It is James Wolfe.
I'm the Apex Predator.
Apex Predator.
Couldn't believe we were blown away. Myself, Annabelle, Max covering this season. It was such an exciting confessional. And it was so exciting that you did it a second time later on in the season. And we loved every minute of it because it was so juicy. Next, we have another person playing their second time, but with the advantage of someone not having seen their first game, which is always a bit of a benefit to when people know who you are. Sari is famous for many things, getting off the couch, going across a balance beam, but also the incredible advantage Geddon we saw at Game Changers, where she went out at the final 6 without a single vote. And the closest we'll ever come to that in Australian LRGs, because our lovely hosts and creators aren't stupid enough to put a situation where there's that many idols at a particular vote. But it came close here with an abundance of idols. I think there were only 2 or 3 people that could be voted for. One was Ma, who had absolute power. One was Joe, who no one was voting for. And the third one was this person who went out here as the merge boot, John.
Yep. They haven't moved, so you're going to guess all 3 now.
Can we swap orders? Because I keep getting all the double boots.
You want to swap here? I'll swap.
Yeah, let's swap. You take it. I think I know this one, but you take it.
This man needs no introduction. This man...
You just want to introduce this person. All right.
He's a man that goes by many names, but they're all the same name. It's Banfield v. Banfield. Apparently his name's Blake, and once you found out about that, you knew he was lying about everything, and he could not be trusted. So he should have just stuck with Banfield v. Banfield.
Well, assuming that you are correct in Banfield, then that would make the one after it the lovely Hayley, who was carried by her tribe despite having a pretty serious ankle injury, could not compete in really any challenges. They carried her through, and then they're like, oh, we're about to merge. Now is when the time that she's no longer a liability to them, but she's too big of a threat. So we have to get her out.
Correct.
And before that, we have another married at first Canberra, Matt's Canberra relationship. They really love the couples on Canberra. We mentioned Carleen when we did season 1, and this is her fantastic husband that Annabelle would describe as the ultimate zaddy, I am sure, in Simon.
And then next up, we have the person with, I think, the greatest pants in any LRG in Joseph.
Joseph.
That's all I remember about him is his pants.
There was more to remember about him.
I'm not sure.
He had endless stories, which were both nonsensical, unbelievable, and somewhat ridiculous. That was annoying the rest of the tribe to basically no avail. Somehow he wasn't the first boot. I think that sort of thing really hurts the first boot, so I'll talk about. Well, you'll have to talk about it, I suppose, now that we swapped. To have that, someone like Joseph Arana, no offense to the guy, but, sometimes you're like, how did I get voted out instead? Anyway, the person here, though, was, of course, from the only pre-merge immunity challenge that the Purple Tribe lost. They had to go later on a double where they both went. And the only person voted out for the tribe at that point early on in the game was Grace. Grace has the honor, because the first boot of this season did not want to come and do an interview, which is perfectly understandable. First person we ever interviewed on the ORCA pod is Grace.
Oh, okay. Well, the first boot who snubbed us for, not us, I wasn't there at the time, but snubbed this podcast for an interview is Sam.
To be fair to Sam, she snubbed everyone. She didn't even go on the On Brand podcast. She was particularly, I think, devastated by being the first boot.
Yeah, fair. It's not easy.
All
The
right.
score remains with myself with a 2-point lead.
67 to 65.
As we bring up the comments and take a small break. Loving all of your action. I don't know what you're saying, but I see the counter ticking up, and it's very, very enjoyable.
Hot Mama.
Who was the hot mama?
Mark.
Yes,
The best LRG winning game at that point of airing.
yeah, I think that's right, Josh. I'd agree.
I would agree.
There you go. Kiara does a logo, so backyard. There you go.
There you go. I didn't know that. There's something I did not know.
There you go. Michael equals Michael, Anna equals Amy. Mel is the props queen.
Yeah.
There you go. Mel's a lot of people survivor mama.
A lot of love for Mel.
I think we're talking about James Wolfe here.
Mm.
Josh is being particularly savage. I don't know if I want to.
Oh.
Oh, what?
Oh.
Wow. We didn't know that. Grace is season 1 Janine's daughter.
Oh, okay. Keep it in the family.
All right. Yes.
Actually, I did know that because I think Janine was sort of there in and about the interview when we did it. But I've forgotten. I don't think I remember who Janine was, but I do remember her mum being around. And maybe they mentioned the relationship in that interview. That was like 2.5 years ago, so I don't remember everything. All right, so I'm going first.
You're going
here.
first.
In the magnificent people you know, one of the most impressively edited seasons, and certainly the most impressive first season off the rack out of anyone in the community. I think it's so impressive because Sam spent about 3 years editing it, and I think that's why we're waiting so long for Brisbane 2, right? Because Sam is a perfectionist, and I'm sure it's going to be incredible, but we got to wait a long time. But I think it'll be worth the wait, right? Probably.
Watch it come out before Sydney and Melbourne 4.
Everything's going to come out before Melbourne 4.
And I think that's also a creation of love, where the person
we understand.
wants to make it perfect. But sometimes near enough is good enough, Like, I just want to see the players play.
Absolutely. We just want it.
I just want to see the players play.
Still Survivor.
Now, when you cast people on a season of Survivor, someone is going to win. When 2/5 of that season are your family, there's a good chance one of them is going to win. And that's exactly what happened as Nick Green took out the inaugural win on
2/5? I think you mean 1/5.
Yeah, 1/5. I'm a word person, not a maths person. I'm a lawyer.
You went to say 2 people, but then 2 out of 10. Yeah.
I just said I'm a words person, not a numbers guy.
All right. All right, well, the runner-up, the only runner-up, I can't get this one wrong because it was a final 2, is Kyle. The surfer dude.
He was a surfer dude. And what's better than one member of your family in the final 3, but the other one, to be honest, I would have loved a final 2 with them. No offense to Kyle, but I think the final 2 of Lily and Nick would have had that brother-sister.
I think Lily would have wiped the floor with him.
But there would have been they would have been going at each other with Sam having to mediate. And I'm pretty sure that's probably their entire family life.
I reckon it would
be with Sam mediating. So I think
it
would have been an epic ending. But I feel like Lily was going to win, and so she gets taken out in 3rd.
And then 4th place, we have her ride or die during that game was Liam.
Liam was a savvy player. He wasn't the most interesting on camera, but very savvy, knew the game, very strong.
I mean, they came into merge with pretty bad numbers, so.
There were 10 of them to start. What can the numbers be? Anyway.
They merged with 7, and it was 5-2 or something. It was bad.
Now, this next player loved Survivor. Some of these people I don't think had ever watched Survivor before, and was there to play a big game, and I think struggled when everyone else was just doing something else, and was incredibly frustrated by incredibly frustrated by the game everyone else was playing, and she let everyone know that, particularly on the way out, and that was Andy.
And I'm so happy that we swapped our order because it means I get to give the ORCA of the season to the lovely Tyler.
Queen Tyler.
Queen Tyler.
And following her, that's, believe it or not, the merge. It's not the merge. Ooh, could have made a mistake there. This person, I don't remember a lot about them, but they famously asked the Final Trouble contestants what flavor of ice cream was their favorite, which I only remember because it was a 12th question where I had to work my way through the whole of this cast to reason it out, and it was charm.
You stumbled your way there and then eventually got it. This next person, I believe, fucked themselves over and essentially got themselves voted out, if I'm remembering correctly. I remember there was some controversy with their boot. It is Alex.
I like Alex. I think he had good value.
Did he tell it after the swap? He told people that he had an idol, but he did. I don't know. There was something.
I think he was trying to say someone else had the idol, but he had the idol. He was trying to. Oh yeah, that was a whole mess. He had the. Yeah, he was playing. He was playing like 3 different games at once with 3 different people, and they all compared notes.
It ended up being a 2-1-1 to get him out.
Yeah. Look, I won't say the first 2 boots in Brisbane Survivor are somewhat interchangeable, but the first 2 boots in Brisbane Survivor are somewhat interchangeable. And this is one of those ones I've really had to study the names. And I believe this one is Georgia.
Thought there was a chance of me getting one back there. And then the first boot in the first episode, I don't know how many times we heard from everyone else just how lovely this person is and how they all felt so bad for voting her out. And it was Haley. But she's a lovely girl. That's all
you
we
met
heard.
Haley? No, you know. Just what we told.
Hmm?
Well, I guess that's the danger of playing a game with people you know. Sometimes nice girls do finish last because, you know.
Well, yeah, I think it's hard to vote out people that you know. And when it's only a cast of 10, there's not going to be a dud that's the easy first. But that's kind of like how I'm feeling about Australia versus the world coming up. I'm going to be sad every time someone gets voted out.
Oh, come on. There's some, you don't even know who that Finland guy is. He can go first.
All right, so there's 2 people that can go first and second.
But they're not. Those guys are going to go all the way around. No one knows who they are, and no one's going to even be worried about them. There's going to be so much focus on everybody else.
Yeah.
Sarah's going to get the win because no one's going. The rest of her tribe is going to be.
That is my winner pick. Spoiler alert: Sarah Talene, even though she's not really in the trailer. So I'm like.
I forgot there was another LRG player named Kyle. There you go. You're not the only one. Anybody's higher than me, so it makes me the Kyle that sucks.
I mean, he doesn't host a show though. So.
Any more comments worth bringing, Dani?
That was it. And Sam Green talking about his childhood.
Yeah. About the mediating their fights.
Yeah, the mediating between Nick and. All right.
I remain 2 points up.
Yeah.
No, score says so 72-70.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 points up. Now, if I get my own season that I'm wearing a buff for wrong, it'd be pretty embarrassing. And you do remember
the first season that I podcasted about.
Sure. I'm sure we'll both get them all right.
No, I'm just saying, this is nostalgic.
I was brought on to do a guest ep of Canberra 2, and this is the very first podcast I got to take ownership of because CK loved me so much. So thank you.
And Dani brought me and Ethan in. So it's thanks to this season that we are all here today.
It was truly this moment, and we were joint podcasting this one and the next one we were doing, alternating through part of the week because they were airing at the same time.
Yeah.
I was talking about Dani on Sydney. She was talking about me on Melbourne.
I was talking about both of you.
Yeah, it was a fun little start. And Ethan, of course, was there too. It was a fun little start to the kick to the ORCA pod. That crossover. For future reference, LRG creators, please don't put your seasons out at the same time. It's not enjoyable for me or anyone. But at that time, it sort of worked well to kick off the original podcast that we made here because it was all so much at once in a good way.
Wait. All right, with Brisbane 2, Sam Green, please. Kyle, there are 2 more seasons in the way of that first. Please and thank you. As much as I want to see it, there are 2 more that were filmed first.
We move into, as I said, my season, and the winner I didn't vote for him. He talked too much about, famously, about Denise in his confessional. In his final tribal council. And I was more of a Malcolm guy. So I'm like, stop talking about Denise. I was sad Malcolm lost that ball challenge. But of course, the winner and the deserving winner, I said in the reunion, if I could vote again, I would have changed my vote to John. Went to every single tribal council and only voted once incorrectly. He says that was deliberate, but I don't know. But yeah, every single one, but only voted incorrectly once. Incredible game.
The runner-up and the person I didn't say that, but I knew that was one anyway. The person that you did vote for at Final Tribal is the lovely Chloe.
And in third place, I was there. His Final Tribal Council was actually surprisingly good for selling what was a bit of a nothing game. But this podcast has been known for its savage takes, and they're also known for my takes being incorrect, apparently, which people love to parade upon when they come here. But this was both a correct take and incredibly savage from the first Bromelo medalist, yet to be named that, of course. But Ethan Bromelo sat on this podcast and at the merge, where Dale received one vote, said to the two of you, that will be the last vote Dale gets for the entire game, and that includes the 0 votes he gets at Final Tribal Council. And it really set the bar for savagery on this podcast. And it was Dale.
Oh, dear.
Ethan Bromelo, we love you.
Love you so much.
Yeah. Again, you're trying to trick me. I saw one name, but that's not who's next.
No, it is not.
Fourth place was the woman who wanted nothing more than for someone to go to Rocks. She didn't get it, but it is Caitlin.
I would have preferred that she wanted an overly aggressive man to sort of corner her and try to get her to vote with him. That would be my preference of what she wanted out of the game. But yeah, she liked Rocks instead.
Yeah.
I don't think I was
trying to make Rocks happen at Merge. Blame Dale. I wanted Rocks at Merge. Anyway.
And then who's next?
The absolute challenge beast. I adored this woman when I played with her. She couldn't figure out if I adored her or was just messing with her half the time in the real time. But I did absolutely adore her. I thought she was an incredible woman, and that is Kate.
What a warrior she was.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 6th place, look, we haven't given an ORCA for this season. This is going to be a tricky one to do. There is a lot of contenders. You are a contender, but I would say this next person is a very strong contender in Laurel.
Doesn't have the strong arming tactics. That's what I'd argue. Better player than that. I literally forced Caitlin up against a wall. Come on. It's the definition of strong arming. I chased
pick her tribe and chose it by who would walk a runway the best. Like, that is very ORCA.
I chased Laurel through the forest.
Yeah, that
is one of the best.
That is my favorite scene in any LRG.
I could watch it again and again, and I think I would still almost wet myself laughing watching it time and time again. Hilarious.
And just you chasing her, but then cutting back to Tash and Kate just sitting there being like,
coffee.
I'm having a coffee.
It's a good moment. The season is filled with good moments. What is not a good moment is this person outlasted me. What was my one regret? That I didn't finish higher than Brady. Sorry, Brady, I love you.
All right. And next, this was a double, but this was one after the other. So I know this one was Tash.
And the ORCA gods have once again allowed me to do something I never get to do on this podcast, and that's talk about myself.
Imagine if you got that wrong.
I know when I got booted. Here I am in my majestic leather jacket, the ego on full display, the facial hair that I've never had in my life, purely to look more like a rocker than a lawyer. The evil lawyer, the evil musician himself, CK. No one trusted him, and he thought he was so right about so many things, yet he was so wrong. The one thing that I regret about this season, in fact, is I started the fire in Yellow Flago, and there is video footage of that because it's in my little promo thing that Ash made. But I was so sad that Liz didn't show me lighting the fire, especially after Brady had been trying to light it, the Scoutmaster had been trying to light it for like 2 hours, and I just rolled over and did it 10 minutes. You know, here's my moment to say that happened. I have receipts in my video.
Release the footage.
Release the footage, Liz.
All right, moving right along. Every villain needs a hero to work with, and that hero is the lovely Max.
What was he
Probably
doing
one of the
sticking with
sweetest
me?
guys you'll ever meet.
What was he doing with me?
I
Put
don't
him
know.
the door, man.
Hey, look,
and-
heroes and villains can work really well together.
And before Max, at a very, very sad pre-merge boot, we had the aforementioned La Madrina before she achieved that title, Ma. Though I believe the other season aired before this, so it was sort of a weird thing.
It
where
was
you didn't see
weird.
her. It was like a prequel where you saw her origins
a
before
prequel.
her success.
Yeah. And yeah, the other sad, but Mars was a very sad boot, but the one before it was also quite sad. It was Rosie.
This podcast that you did with Rosie was famously not available on our countdown. It was hidden. And so I recently created, yesterday, therefore I created a playlist of our 99 podcasts. You can go and see it on the LRG YouTube. 99 in a row, says 99. This will be number 100 that goes in there, just like it should. So this was hidden, not because Rosie was quite savage in her description of me, but she also spoiled my boot on the season. I think we've now moved past the point where we need to hide her spoiler, and that episode is now re-released into the podcast list on the LRG YouTube.
It's back to
Yeah,
you.
that was awkward. Anyway,
Right, back to me. I don't know when you did it, yeah. But whatever, it's all in the past now. Now I'm talking too much about my own season now. I'm losing my flow. This is devastating, but I don't think I could ever get this pick
I was like,
wrong.
you get this wrong.
The host
this wrong,
of
she's
the
gonna
Tea
bitch slap me.
Party, the biggest star to ever come out of an Australian LRG, having played a real reality game on real television and becoming best friends with Luke Toki in the process. It is our absolute queen, Annabelle.
Oh, we love Annabelle.
You too.
And our third boot is Ashley, the guy who basically said to his own alliance, "It's fine, you can vote for me."
He's a super nice guy, actually.
He's lovely.
He and Max became quite good friends after the fact. Just two nice guys,
see that.
and a nice
Hey,
guy
boy.
chill. In this next position is she made such an impact on her only ally, Dale, that he couldn't even write her name correctly. I thought her name was Maria or something, but her name was actually
Marianne.
Maria when he voted her out.
It wasn't even close. It was like it's both started with M and that's it. And then our
Sorry,
first
Dale. Are
boot,
you watching this? Sorry, Dale. This hasn't been particularly nice.
our first boot, we started the season with a bang, with a big blindside of Scott.
Scotty didn't know that he was getting booted.
Mm.
Also, another awkward interview. I was very happy to
Wow.
be having technical difficulties at that point in time.
We
I was
don't
off screen for most of that interview because I couldn't get back online. I came back
Danny,
and I'm
we
like,
don't
"Oh,
actually
sorry, you feel that way."
we don't actually have that one on the podcast.
Yeah,
that was
you
one-
went live for like 10 seconds and then it cut out.
Yeah, and we only have the 10-second one, not the hour that you did after. But
Very
I've
good.
left it in the playlist so that it's at 99.
Yeah,
So
it sounds right.
Very
I
good.
appreciate
Very well
that.
done. All right. My loves, it's my season.
Can I go
Yeah.
first for this one?
And we need some comments first.
Oh, okay. But can we switch the order? Can I go? I want the odds for Sydney.
Sure, whatever you want.
All right. So
I don't really care, Jules. I know them all.
No, I know. I want the odds.
Sammy's trying for season 2. Caitlin, Eden's assistant. Oh my god, titles me. Titless me. Titless me.
Shitless me. That
Yeah.
makes more sense.
Forrest Gump CK.
I'm running.
I wasn't there, but I knew the only crew that could have kept up. There would be Maddie C. Was Maddie C the one videoing?
I think it was. I think it must have been. Yeah.
Annabelle, such a legend.
Are you saying that
$1
Cully
million
and
no
Kim?
council left players?
Look, I
And,
didn't watch.
and DC on the summit.
Yeah, I didn't watch $1 Million Island. But did they make it to the point where like there was like at least 20 people? Because presumably the first 80 just go in 5 seconds, right? It's like 100 people on the show.
I don't know. And like Annabelle was a main character on her season of The Traders.
Yeah, she's arguably the most famous.
DC was the first boot of the summit, and also sorry, DC, no one watched the summit.
Joseph Bates is here right in time.
Hey!
Also, let me just shout out Survivor Cayman Islands. First 2 episodes are up, and they are so good. Episode 2 is savage and full of twists and turns to the point I wouldn't stop messaging Joseph about it in real time because I was like, what the fuck is happening? It was fantastic.
Okay.
I really
Good to
enjoyed
know.
it.
Yeah.
Well, now that Australian Survivor is over, I might be willing to watch that. That was my main
There's
reason.
only 2 eps in, so you won't not too much to catch up.
Excellent.
Because we talked about podcasting about it, but I was like, I've already got 3 episodes.
We'll do a season recap.
Yeah.
We'll do a season recap.
At the end, yeah, sounds good.
Josh
says,
best, are you faithful? Yeah, that's fair.
well, to be fair, she went out calling out both Blake and Sam as the
2
traders. And as obviously as Sam was, Blake was way more subtle.
Mm.
So I watched the summit just to see the big DC evac moment. He says in my interview with him that was a bit of like movie magic and a bit of a beat up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that. But anyway, we're talking about Sydney Survivor, and I'm going to start because I want the odd numbers. And our winner, who is in the chat tonight, is the lovely Sam Green.
Sweet Sam.
We love Sam.
Sam, we just, yeah.
Now,
I think I've
never met anyone who can say a bad word about Sam, ever.
Yeah, one of just the nicest people.
And if
And
you do,
I
I'll put
Very gentle soul.
I famously, and I haven't mentioned this like a number of times, predicted.
We've never spoken about this
All
before.
right.
Just based on the pre-draft, based on this picture and the hosting I'd seen him do in Brisbane. In second place, and I don't want to be offensive, but I feel like the person in third should have come second. And I feel like this is why you don't have your entire cast be on the jury, particularly if they spent time in redemption, because it influences their vote, because their story is going to be a different story to someone who was there the whole game. But, you know, she got the votes. A lot of them came from the redemption people who she spent time with. But second place to second place, and that was Jazz.
Yeah, so because I love Michelle, I've accidentally slipped them, but you are absolutely correct. It is Jazz.
Danny just gave me a free point. I did know who got third place. It's
Once
okay.
again, you two colluding down there.
You can't accuse me of not knowing this one. The person who puts in all the hard work running the Australian Survivor fans Facebook page, absolutely adore her. I think she was incredibly underrated, but I think we found out later that's because a lot of her footage was lost. But yes, Danny gave it away. It is Michelle.
In fourth place, we have The Robbed God. Would have won the game if he got there, which is why everyone voted him out. His biggest mistake was giving his bleeding heart bestie permission to vote him out, because I think otherwise Sam would have struggled to do it because he's such a nice guy. And of all the interviews I've done on the ORCA pod, this one was probably the most surprising. Before Altus is probably now the most surprising. But Luke, not that he came across as, you know, unintelligent or dumb or anything like that. He seemed like a savvy, smart person. He got a bit of the like nice guy jock edit with a bit of strategy on the side. And when I spoke to him, he was so eloquent and so smart and so presented his arguments so well that if he'd got to that final tribal council, I think he could have got every vote. Because he had the game and he had the words to back it up.
And he so strategic. Like it just didn't come across in the edit. He was so switched on through the whole game.
The next person is very near and dear to our hearts. I met him first through podcasting about Melbourne Survivor. And because of that, I thought that you and him were going to be absolute BFF ride or dies. And I was shattered to see that you were against each other. The guy his only mission was to vote out Shane, it is Ethan.
And what could Sydney Survivor 1 be without the shocked Pikachu face of Maddie P upon seeing Christy, there it is right there, arrive upon the scene. Maddie P, a fantastic guy, a great player in this season. I love that they voted him out before Ethan because he's just too nice. No one really likes Ethan in the game, that is. Everyone likes Ethan in real life, but in the game, that's where they were sitting. And I love that Maddie P, they've both gone on to play because they just live the same life, apparently, despite one being a 40-year-old gay man and the other being a 22-year-old man from the Western Sydney. They live the same life and have played a variety of international United States games. They both ended up on the same one, unintentionally, apparently. Did not realize they'd applied for the same American season and were cast. And, of course, that was some sort of crazy 10-day game or some shit that Maddie P won. So these guys have had such a story building on from this alliance they had here.
Yeah.
It's because it's a fucking brilliant cast. Like, not to toot my own horn, it's a fucking brilliant cast.
It's a strong cast. It's a strong cast.
That's probably why. 7th place, the guy who knew nothing about Survivor rocked up and stumbled his way across 2 idols and a legacy advantage and got an extra vote and just, stumbled along and, oh, look at this, how good am I? It's Shane.
Danny couldn't believe he was faking it. It was too good. And then we have him live in the chat. He said he's arrived just for this moment. The host of the brand new Cayman Islands LRG. It is the fantastic Joseph. Who, fun fact, I interviewed for Melbourne 4. And he had a really great intro video. I'd say in his interview, he needed to be a bit more evil. I was expecting him to be like this really evil lawyer. And, I love an evil lawyer from his video. But his interview was not as evil. He seemed just like a really nice guy. But it didn't matter because we were casting Danny anyway. So we weren't going to cast someone else from Sydney. So, Joseph, the reason you didn't make it on Melbourne 4 is this woman right here.
Sorry, bud. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. And speaking of this woman right here,
no,
CK and I had to get fine. CK and I had to convince her that she was in fact 9th place and not like some equal thing of 9th and 10th. You did not receive a vote at that tribal council. So you did get 9th place. You were absolutely screwed by that stupid twist that I ranted about.
And we would have had a CV moment if I had gotten that knowledge is power instead of Shane. Not the legacy advantage. If I had the legacy advantage instead of Shane, which I missed by milliseconds, Michelle and Jazz go here because they're the only people eligible to be voted for.
Yeah. But yes, you were happy to call yourself equal 10th, but no. You are 9th.
Thank you.
In 10th is one of the most incredible coups for an LRG production. We were impressed that Canberra managed to roll out a post-merge sort of rememberable player in Connor to show up to the Ultimate Sacrifice and talk to Ma for a bit and have a picnic with the winning tribe. That was impressive, right? No, what's actually impressive is somehow, in some fever dream, Eli was creating Sydney Survivor, and I understand that this person reached out wanting to maybe help crew or meet some of the people, part of her business of helping coach people to get to the real Survivor. But Eli, being the man he is, would not let up and kept asking her to play. And eventually she accepted because he knew when there's a big world of LRGs out there already, how do you stand out? You get the winner of the first season of Australian Survivor. That matters. The other two don't count. The first win of Australian Survivor that matters to appear on your effing LRG. It's so amazing that she did this and has become such a huge part of our community as a real Survivor player. She's amazing. I loved interviewing her for our deep dive for Sydney, and it is Christy.
What a shock to get her.
That's why I wanted to do it, because I wanted to use that photo.
Yeah.
No, don't
Don't rob
diminish.
yourself of 9th place.
You've got single digits. Never let that go.
Yeah. All right, and then now we're on to the pre-merge. The last person to go out pre-merge, Dani, how dare you vote this person out? This is a good friend of mine. I've gone up to Sydney and stayed at her house. She's come to Melbourne and stayed at my house. It is Leah.
Now one of my besties, which I never would have ever thought now when I met her on the day.
I couldn't have a chat.
Yeah, have a chat. Couldn't stand, and now we talk every day.
You can't trust someone who's afraid of butterflies.
Hey!
You're afraid of butterflies?
They're both terrified of butterflies.
Anything with wings.
I send them memes all the time about things with butterflies. It's funny.
Love it.
Just, traumatize someone, sure.
The next one is a double boot, which we know Jules can't stand in this competition.
This one's fine because one of them came back in. So
correct. So it's a single boot I've never seen a group of people play a move so badly or be completely gazumped by Christie's skill set. And that is, we saw the sad demise of Merlene. Now, Merlene, who was savvy enough to not let everyone know she was an ultra marathon runner, she just told everyone she was a marathon runner. It's going to lower the threat level.
Yeah. All right, for this next person, we've talked a lot about some bad takes we've had. This next person was my winner pick for the season. Clearly it was a bad take, but it is Lizzie.
Oh, she's lovely. But yeah, she's probably too lovely to win.
Hey, look, we had a photo and a fun fact.
Great.
I know you picked Sam, but whatever.
This next person, there was a lot of confusion in the real time because I wasn't as well known, and people thought he looked like me. And we have he's CK, I'm CK, and he's TK, and we have the same last name. We're both Kelly, and I kept calling him my brother, and then people got really confused about whether he was actually my brother. He's not. He's my brother from another mother, but the legendary TK, sadly gone too early from what I think could have been an impressive run.
Absolutely.
Next, we have a victim of a live tribal council. This vote was changed on the walk to tribal and then whispered down the line at tribal council, and is the reason that Amanda was the second boot.
And we talked earlier about who the most iconic first boot is, and I still think it is JP. But this man was his own character in every right. He justified the use of an Edge of Extinction, much like Reem Daly did in the original Edge of Extinction. You wanted more screen time. I believe the hashtag, what's the hashtag going around?
John
10. Hashtag John 10. We want the John 10. This guy is a wild, loose unit, and everyone loves that on Survivor. Not surprising he was the first boot, but he was a pleasure to have on our screens.
Don't come for me.
That's true. That's true.
As we break, I believe I still remain 2 up.
Yes, but I'm going to ask you to go first. No, wait. I'm going to ask to go back to being. Wait. Yeah, no, I want to stay. Sorry, never mind. I was going to ask to swap back, but no, I want to stay first.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Because you're not sure about the order here.
Yes. I don't know this one. I know the order, but there's a double boot in there, and there's the runner-up situation is dicey. So I'm gonna go first. But we need Sydney comments.
Yeah, we're going back on them. Here we go. Maddie P is an angel.
We love him.
Joseph says I better have won. To wait and see. I was twist fucked. Yes, we know.
Absolutely, she was.
Yes, I'm an icon. Thank you, Tara. I don't know if it's about me, but I'm going to take it.
Oh,
Christy fucking Bennett. Yeah.
Yay, Sammy.
Of course you think that you won. Christy's the nicest human you ever meet. Everyone's the nicest human.
She's lovely.
She's lovely, but she's not
Tara.
Tara hates birds.
There's a difference between birds and butterflies.
They're the same. Anything with wings. Don't like it.
There you go. Birds are rats with wings.
Yeah, birds are fine. I get the birds one.
The Kelly gang. Tara prefers rats more than birds.
I know, Kyle. You're thinking of wrapping up with like a returnee season, but you know, TK versus CK is the captain season everyone wants. Battle of the Brothers. Make it happen. Backyard 7, baby.
Oh, okay. All right.
Would you rather be a rat or a bird?
Bird.
Would I rather be one? I'd rather be a bird.
Mm.
But would I rather face a bird or a rat? I'd rather face a rat.
I am. It's pretty good.
All right. We're almost there. We got
2 seasons to go.
All right.
So, Survivor camera.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Danny! Like the collusion
I
going
was
on
not
here.
gonna get the winner wrong, okay?
I'm so sorry.
I was not going to get the winner wrong. It's okay. The winner was Beth. Yes, I was not going to get that wrong, though. Don't worry about that.
I just pressed it too many times. I'm so sorry. Fuck.
One half of the iconic "We Hate Men" speech.
Now, I've got to assume how you've done this because second and third have.
Chris,
I need to check I've done this. Hold on. Before I so I know. Keep going.
Second and third have the same amount of votes. So then I think, like we did with Samara, second place goes to the person who had the least amount of votes during the game. Is that
If that's what Wiki has done, then that's what I've done.
The wiki doesn't have it right. All right. Because then what's interesting is the person... one person has more votes than the other, but only because the other person had 2 votes nullified by an idol that they didn't play themselves. So arguably, that person should be third because they had more votes. But I think the answer should be based on the person that had...
This is not what CK thinks it should be. This is what Danny has provided.
This is based off...
Ed's wiki. Then you have Ed here.
Pardon?
You have Ed here.
Yes!
Which part of the wiki are you looking at?
I go on back.
The downward list?
Go on back.
Yeah.
I go on back.
That is the correct answer because he has less votes than Ed.
Yeah. So you maintain it's correct. Third place is then Ed, but it's technically like it's equal second, but the next person you're going to say is Ed. You're not going to lose because of that. It just means that you're only going to win by 1. Let me have this. And one of the points I lost was by the final tribalists. I had them in the wrong order.
Excuse me.
Even.
Give me a second.
Oh my God.
I can't share you the screen. I'm going to send you this link, Danny, right now.
Just get over it, okay?
No, but on the list that she told me to go off of, which I specifically did, right.
You're gonna win anyway.
I want a perfect score. Perfect game.
So do I, but you know.
I just see the list. Ed is below. It goes Bethany, Ed, Oscar on that list.
Look, you're splitting hairs. You're splitting 2 people that
We'll
got
continue
the same
from
number
here.
of votes of final tribal.
Let's move on.
Move on.
Okay. Well, I would like that checked in due course. So you said Oscar, and then the next answer is the only player in the entire 13 seasons whose name begins with the letter P, the croissant queen herself, Pauline.
And then 5th place, the people's champion himself, Eden.
The creator of the so-called wiki, which has it in the order that I have checked and have provided to Danny.
Oh my God, get over it.
Illusion.
Please.
The next person is a fabulous person, a fabulous player. I haven't met her in real life, but she gives us such lovely vibes until we played that LRG Collide thing and she voodoo idoled me for a second fucking time. in my like Survivor career. What the fuck, Sab?
My winner pick. And then next we have the ORCA of the season, played a dominant game and went out in 7th place, which is where a lot of good people go out in that sort of middle end game. It is Loz.
A star. It's amazing. The next place was a strategic powerhouse in a strong position for most of the game. But when Oscar set his sights on taking this man out, it may have taken him a couple of moves, but Oscar was not going to not get his man, and that was the very, very cerebral Todd.
And this one's got a double at an odd number, for fuck's sake.
It does.
But I believe I know the correct order here, because I believe I know that the other person is sitting on the jury for this trial. I'm visualizing them sitting there to watch John get voted out. Yes! Whew.
Nick's father, John.
I'm more excited about getting it right, to give him a little write-up.
And I don't think I've ever been more excited to see a player play again. That includes you, Tara. I'm sorry, though, as much as I love you. To see this man on my screens again, to see his confessionals. And look, they jumped the shark a little bit sometimes. The Possum Magic one was somewhat nonsensical. It wasn't quite his amazing efficiency, communist, like socialist stuff he was doing at Exile. But he still lit up our screens. I'm glad he made it as far as he did. And that is probably the Andrew. And this is the one power couple that we haven't mentioned. And while I got excited when I found out that Kyle and Jason Muscles used to be a couple, when I found out that Andrew and Dan were a couple, oh my God, the intellectual stimulation, I want to be in that room. Please make
You want to go to dinner with them, don't you?
Oh, yes, I do. Please make that room the Canberra Orca drinks. I really hope Andrew is out. I would love to talk about everything.
Next up, we have someone who I think was quite surprising. I did draft him on my team, and you guys weren't expecting much from him, but he did make it all the way to merge. And if he had been willing to vote his own ally, he would not have been the merge boot, but it's Aiden.
And next we have someone who had a hell of a journey at the Swamp of Sadness. For her, up until the end, it was not the Swamp of Sadness. It was the swamp of kicking everyone's ass at the challenges, which, I think she surprised herself. Maybe it was the Swamp of Surprise. Only lost the very last minute to John in the battle back. My pick, who I sweated on through each of these challenges as she fought and fought, was Amy.
And since we're talking about our draft teams, next one was someone who was on my draft team, who I drafted quite early, and you were very jealous that I sniped her from you, but then she got swap screwed and went out early. But someone who I have met a couple of times in real life and is just a wonderful person, it is Squin.
That picture come up for anyone else? There we go.
Yeah.
Next after this gets a bit tricky because you got these people going in challenges and all that sort of business. But I love this person's story. I loved that when they got booted was 1 year from when they had received their diagnosis that they'd gone into remission from cancer. What an incredible journey for Anthea. She was great to play, but on a personal level, that going from cancer to Canberra Survivor was a wonderful story to see play
out. Next up, I'm trying to remember who had this person on their draft team, but this is someone we were all expecting to do quite well. And another swap screw.
I think I know.
Another one to go out earlier than we expected is Maddie.
And now the first boot. And look, there's something about the Canberra first boots and not coming and doing our interviews. And it makes us, do we love them less? Yes, we do, because we never got to meet them. It's not because they didn't show us the love. I don't think Jay went on the On Brand podcast either. But, you know, we never get to meet them, so we never get to feel the love. And that was on this season, Jay. We have one more season to go.
Would you like to go first or second for this one?
The only mistakes have been
From doubles.
due to double boots
And runners
or
up.
reading the wiki incorrectly. Not on me.
Just runners up, like if runners up that had the same number of votes and double boots. So like we're doing well.
Yeah, I didn't get it wrong. Like,
My PowerPoint stands. That's my ruling.
Yeah.
have you checked the
And
Wikipedia?
you said yourself that Oscar is the correct answer. You just tried to game it too well.
No, Danny told me she went off the wiki, so that's what I
I
gave
thought
you.
I did. My PowerPoint stands.
Yeah.
End of discussion.
I'm
Look,
claiming.
if this was the point that would lose you the game, then I would be like, you know what, that's fine. Be mad. But it's not. I'm still going to lose.
Regardless, I didn't lose.
And I'm happy that it's going to be only by 1 point and not 2.
I have a perfect score.
Alright.
I will go.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Rachel. It wouldn't be 100 episodes of us bickering about this point because I think all to do. My perfect score.
Bethany overtook Mara as my favorite winner in LRG history. Legendary storyline and character progression. Social Queen broke the travel interstate country curse to win. Nice.
Hang on.
So did Mara.
No, Mara travelled interstate. So did John. John was living in Sydney when he played Melbourne.
Well, Josh, you're wrong. There you go.
He didn't travel from another country.
Jules,
Sam, hang on. Sam also travelled from Brisbane to win Sydney. All the winners come from other states.
Yeah.
Josh, you're a problem. Flaws, I got best female villain, 100%.
Agreed.
Todd, love. Tara still thinks she's disgusting. Squin, so lovable. Yes, Anthea is a gem. What in the world?
Yeah.
And Jay is season 1 Charlene's husband.
What?
Okay.
Did not know that.
Yeah, all right. All the things.
Canberra love the romance.
The couple. How has Canberra not done a Blood Horse versus Water returnee season? Like, it's all there. They've probably got 16 returnees. They could do a Blood versus Water. Dan.
I mean, Tara hasn't played Canberra, but she's played LRG, so you could put her in there.
You got Keegan and Emily. There's so many. Like, oh my god, you could. It's there. It's right for the picking, Dan. And then I think Dan should play with Andrew, and Liv should just host it. Oh no, Liv's playing too. Liv's playing with.
We'll
someone
host
else
it.
can host it. Sophie can host it. I don't know. Like someone can host it. This would be amazing. Captain's tries with Liv and Dan. Right? So this is writing itself. If you're not watching Dan, I'll be in your DMs. and this, of course, is following the CK versus TK captain season that we've got to have this. Now, final season. Thank you for everyone that stuck with us. This has gone longer than I thought it would. I don't know how long I thought it was going to go.
I don't know why I thought we were going to go 3 hours, so I'm happy that we're
I didn't realize I was going to talk this much about everyone.
Really?
You didn't realize you were going to talk this much.
I don't think I
Have you met
realized I had this much information in my brain about every single one of those people. But I do.
All right.
Apparently.
Here we go. Sophie says she'd host.
Yeah.
There you go. Done.
Yeah, done.
It's an equally good pitch.
I think it's a better pitch than TK versus CK, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's better.
What a Canberra season is a better pitch. Okay, so.
Sorry, I just didn't change to 4 to a 5. Sorry, Tara. Yep, it's 5. Sorry.
It looks a bit like a 5. It's sort of like
Got the right logo. That's the main
the
thing.
logo's right. Come on. There's a lot to
Yeah,
get.
are you going first or you want me to go first? You can choose this time.
I'll go second. I'll finish it
Of
up.
course you will. Okay, so the winner was my winner pick, my first draft pick. The reason that I won the draft, it was Hayley. What a queen.
In second place, we had a real player that came into their own as they went through the season. Probably like seemed a bit like just a side-ish character at the start, but in the final, sort of from final 7 onwards, was a real power player, potentially a contender for the ORCA with some of the strong arming she was doing.
I voted for her.
Jacob asking for her idol repeatedly was a hilarious moment, which kept being. No, I blame the idol for me. He's like, but the other idol. He's like, yeah.
It was giving Natalie, can I have your jacket? Like,
yeah, it was. She was definitely going to do a Caitlyn and just play both idols on herself. And it's Megan, of course.
Okay, so now we're going to get a guess like the 3 in a row.
okay.
Yeah.
Like,
So
one.
you got to do a lot of the orcas. I am going to get to do both People's Champions that we've had. Third place was the People's Champion. It was Zoe.
It was almost someone else.
It was almost a Khan.
It was almost me not buying the drinks by a sliver of a thing.
I was really scared because it was almost a Khan, and he was literally the next person I wanted to pick.
But she got it though, and part of the reason why Zoe, the People's Champion, got so far in the game is because she had an amazing ride or die alliance with the superior Bulldog, Jess.
Superior Bulldog Jess. And then 5th place, Haley's ride or die in Jacob.
I did not calculate this. I just wanted the final say, which is why I said I'll go second. But for the final time, the Orca gods have beamed upon me.
I thought that's why you wanted to go second.
No, that's from the last word. The pleasure of speaking about the most orca we've got the pleasure of talking about on this podcast. Mark blew us away with his scheming and his lies and his confessionals.
That says it all.
His fake tears. And, I still find, and I loved that he was on my draft team, and I loved that I picked him.
And he was like one of the last people picked, too.
Second to last picked, which just ate him the fuck up when we were doing the draft. And I just secretly just sit sometimes and think about him watching that draft, just stewing as people got picked in front of him. And that makes me happy, as did watching Mark just slay this absolute season. We love you, legend.
Yeah. Very good player. 7th place, we had someone who I think wanted to play a very different game, but he kind of was forced to vote out every single one of his own allies along the way until he had no one left and then got himself voted out. So it was Takan.
I'm still very sad that the hair is gone. Same with Jacob, to be honest. Beautiful hair. His one regret, he said in his interview, was that he didn't let the hair down during the season. Because it's now long forgotten. It's gone. Gone to the wastelands of a barber's bin. He was the last standing of his tribe, and we now begin that wipeout of the pinks that could never get on the same page. What?
Do the same thing with the 3.
Yeah,
They're not separated.
And they're all going to be pinks. Well, I don't want to spoil it for yours. But the first one of those pinks is Kate.
It is Kate. Because she did say at her exit that she was happy to have just beaten Tara, who got 9.
Who wouldn't be happy to beat the legend that is Tara?
The legend who had a successful shot in the dark hit. Like, what a moment in this game.
Well before it happened in Survivor 45, in the real time, obviously on the airing it came after, but that hit well before Jacobs. Jacobs? No, what was his name?
Caleb.
The curly-haired guy.
Caleb.
I haven't even seen the season and I know it's Caleb.
I only have LRG facts in here. All real Survivor facts have been pushed away. And then we have another pink decimation in the legend of the summit himself, DC.
The victim of the shot in the dark. Oh. Yeah. And before them, the merge boot, the other pink member to fall is Coach. Someone I had really high hopes for this season.
The man of many names.
It's the same thing. 3.
Go through.
Before that, we have a man who knows no pain to injure yourself really badly in a motorcycle accident just days before you would appear on Backyard Survivor, show up, just smash a bunch of painkillers and dope yourself way through the dopiest game we've seen. Judah said painkillers. To then just being absolutely incredible on the challenge where you had to be stable and spell out some words Unfortunately, he was so fast, he didn't check the spelling and wasn't able to win at Redemption. But that was the story of Motorcycle Man Altus.
And then the other person to lose at that final Redemption challenge, she managed to survive on Redemption for a little bit. She was the victim of a pretty shit tribe challenge-wise, and it is the lovely Mel. That coach pose.
Next, we have a player. He was a cheeky guy. A lot of real impact on the game. I think the time he was there, I think he was playing hard, perhaps too hard. I think if he'd lasted longer, he could have been a really big character. Maybe we'll see him again one day. I don't know. But he was a pleasure to interview. He wanted to get naked with me on the interview, as was seen in the video. For those that are going to watch the video in a little bit, it's all there and it's delightful. Not naked, top half. You're not seeing anything inappropriate. But that was my interview with this fellow. He wanted to do that. He said it wasn't his. I don't think it was my idea. It was his idea. No, it's probably my idea. But either way,
it was your idea. Let's be real.
He was down with the bit, and that is Luke.
And then next, we've talked a lot about lovely people in the LRG community. I think this woman takes the cake, though. It is Kath.
And maybe you shouldn't draft people based on a Drunk Fiver game you played with them after the Playing with Fire finale, where they managed to hold their own with a bunch of big personalities. They looked like they're about 15 years old. I wondered if their parents knew where they were. Apparently they didn't. I still don't know if he was over 18 then. I don't know if he was over 18 when he played this season, but I was impressed that he didn't mention to me once that he had played in this. He kept true to his NDA, Kyle and Brian. He was honorable in that way. If it wasn't for the brutal Birac 4 Francescoing of Holly, this would be the saddest first boot in the history of LRGs. To have a poor 18-year-old child fly the entire way across the country after commenting endlessly on Backyard YouTube videos for 6 years. I don't know if you've seen these comments, but they are lengthy. He was perhaps the true first Backyard Survivor superfan, which probably makes him the true first LRG Australian superfan, because he was there commenting in season 1, finally got his chance to appear, and he failed. But it is for people like him and everyone in the comments, everyone who watches us live or listens after or supports our show or supports these 5 magnificent LRGs that we have spoken about here for 2.5 hours, that we do this program. We do it for ourselves too, because we like looking at ourselves. But we do it for these fans, you fans, and the ultimate super fan who went first here, sadly, was my boy, Tommy.
Devastating. He got 13 votes on his way out.
It's a very sad day for Tommy. But a happy day for the ORCA pod, because I have a perfect score.
Oh, shut up. If you have a perfect score, then I have a perfect score, all right?
CK is our winner.
Yes, he's our winner. Well done.
But well done, Jules. Like, honestly, do you think any other people could have got to come and done that? Like,
no, you guys are like, I couldn't have done that. You are freaks of nature. Very well done. I am very, very proud of you both. That was absolutely ridiculous.
Let's be real. I've had 2 separate careers that involved a lot of memorization. I got this.
And I've done nothing. I've done like 100% exams at university that is just memorizing shit and regurgitating it back out on an exam paper. Like, it's what doing law school is. So we're trained for this. And I want to thank you to our audience who was trained to stick around for a very long podcast, but I think it was a lot of fun. Now, there's 11 of you still here. Do not run. I'm going to replay the intro because it is fun as fuck. And 9 of you at least missed it, probably all of you. So I'm going to play it. And we'll be seeing it in the future, because next week we finally get back to the rank down. We will be talking at length about Redemption. Who's the best villain? Me? Probably is.
So I'm looking at the comments now. Tara's saying that I actually have
we will be talking about Redemption. We'll be talking everything Redemption. It's going to be the 4-week program, maybe a 5-week program if I can get a special interview I'm thinking of doing. And then we will be going into which is the best season. Is Initials at War. That is a great name. TK versus CK, Initials at War. Make it happen. Who will be the best season? Which is number 1? Which is number 2? Is it Canberra, the Ultimate Sacrifice? Is it Playing with Fire? We'll have to see. Mao's very impressed with us. Well, making Mao happy is a pleasure of mine. Thank you, Mao. Thank you, everyone that stuck with us. I'm going to play the intro video again because everyone misses it when we actually start.
So good.
And then we will be out. You won't see our faces again until next week as we start our Redemption coverage. Dani, thank you so much for putting together.
Yeah, well done, Dani.
An amazing PowerPoint. You are the PowerPoint queen. That looked gorgeous.
Thank you.
That was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work.
It was worth it.
Yeah, this was the first time that, like, going into a podcast, I'm like, oh, I don't have to sit here making notes, making sure I've got everything. You had to do all of that.
And let's be real, 45 minutes before this podcast started, all of the transitions disappeared off that. So the last 45 minutes, I was sat there sweating, trying to re-add them back in. So apologies for some of the technical difficulties, but I did what I could.
That was incredible. You're amazing. We love you. We all love each other. We love you. We love everyone who watched. You're the best. Here's the video. We will see you next week.
Time to watch for the moves. They're not hard to find. Strong arm tactics so loud, only themselves in mind. Every player has dreams of making ORCA fame. They'll live on in the minds of those who get in their way. ORCA's all say, don't come for me. Mid-merge boots, they're so vain. As we set up the podcast webcam, the pod is here to talk ORCA game. ORCA King CK with delusions of fame. In this LRG world, he's the apex predator. Dani and Jules in tow, always ready to go. Now it's time for the show. They're the apex predator.